Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Not if you're a Nebius holder, but for everybody else, happy Tuesday. We got a good show for you today. Welcome to Bootleg Weekly. Roy and I are going to talk about so much news that's going on. Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder, Roy. Carry it forward with the intro.
Yeah, Bootleg Weekly. So today's topics, we're going to talk about SOFI, the Muddy Waters report, the insider buy as well, and we'll go over that. A lot of Nebula stuff, a lot of Nebula stuff, a lot of Nebula stuff, and with tie-ins to Meta and of course NVIDIA as well. Some AMD stuff that's kind of related to what we're seeing with some of those pretty wild claims that Jensen Huang had stated. And maybe a couple other things as well. As always, Bootleg Weekly is better with you guys participating. So if you guys have questions related to the topics at hand, we tend to hit those alongside. If not, we'll save those for the Q&A period. Tevis, how are you?
I'm good, man. I got real bricks behind me. So life is good. We've upgraded. When I saw this Airbnb had bricks, I was like, I got to do it for the people. I got to make them feel at home. So... Yeah, doing good.
Before this flurry of news, and I figured GTC would do this, but NBIS has had a ton of news. SOFI has had a lot of news just today. I was like, maybe we'll talk a lot of Palantir and some more things from AIP. But it's like, no, we're not going to. But one thing that I'm not sure if you saw or not, did you see the what they set up for Amit?
No.
Okay, let me find that.
From Mark, I have a Nebius video that I'm editing right now, and I'll be out right after this bootleg. Also, let me guys, let me know if the fan, you can hear it in the background, and I can turn that off if it's distracting. But other than Nebius, I haven't been following. I don't know anything about the SOFI report. I don't know anything about anything, man. So
it's almost like you're traveling internationally in a different time zone.
yeah, exactly. Almost like I've been all day today.
I do have a something that we actually came out with, I came out with in about 5 minutes or so. So there's a SOFI report on the short stuff and all that you need to know. Okay, I found it. I had to figure out what was the best image. So last week, Amit got to go to the Palantir AIP Con 9.
Oh yeah,
and they literally built him a brick wall.
I love that.
Which is just, it's awesome. So Alex Karp, and I've not met him before, but yeah, that's one of the CEOs I'd love to meet. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. Nice touch with your brick wall as well. So we've got a couple of big heavy hitters. Do you want to start with SOFI? Do you want to start with Nebius? Do you want to start with something else? Maybe
we can start with whatever you want to start with, Roy. I'm here for it. Yes, I am in Chile right now, as my mug would suggest. Chile.
Okay, Oh, Chile, cool. You got to send me pictures, man. Like, you just show up and you're having all this fun. You're not telling me anything.
Yeah, I actually thought of you. I went to there was this like not online. I'll tell you, but I went to this tourist location. And I thought of you, and I was like, I've got to send Roy a picture, but I didn't. But I will. Yeah, I'm here until Thursday, and then back to Argentina.
Very cool. Yeah, I've never been to South America other than Roatan, which barely counts. So it's on a cruise for like a day. So, all right, let's start off with the SOFI stuff. So I don't know that we'll go too deep in the weeds here.
You don't want to save that until more people like meander in. Let's do the small stuff first. Let's do like the AMDs and then we'll save SOFI and Nebius for the main topics.
Okay, let's then actually start with NVIDIA and AMD, and then we're gonna go maybe to Nebius and then SOFI, or in a different order is fine. So GTC happened. Did you see any of the clips from or hear any of the big headlines? There was a specific number, Tevis, that Jensen Huang stated that a lot of people got excited about. Did you track any of this? And you're frozen up on my end. It's probably just me. So Okay, now I can see you. Kind of. I think it's actually on your end this time.
I think it might be my end. I saw GTC. I saw the full keynote, the 1 trillion, very exciting stuff. I saw him bringing out the robot. That was pretty awkward, but yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, that's the main thing that a lot of people focused on, and you know, he said it in classic Jensen style. So let's see. Here's 1 trillion. Okay, that's not the one I'm looking for. Well, here, trillion. All right. Yeah, they did say that they have very strong confidence and visibility to $1 trillion, strong visibility of 1 trillion plus Blackwell plus Rubin. And this is over like the next 2 years. So it's not just a absolutely like a blow them away 1 year type of thing. Let's see if I can find the actual. Well, yeah. So Blackwell plus Rubin, we have high confidence of the $1 trillion. I want you guys to understand what 1 trillion is. It's by definition going to keep growing. By definition, because what I compared it against, it will keep growing and it'll be larger than that. Let me find the 500 billion. Actually, that's what I'm looking for. This was a really long keynote. There we go. Oh, this is a conference. That's why I'm missing it. Okay. All right. Let me start over. My apologies, guys. Okay. So we started off saying, hey, previously we talked about $500 billion and that was an immense amount, of course, but no one was impressed. It was told in epic Jensen style. He said, well, I'm here to tell you right now where I stand a few short months after GTC DC, 1 year after the last GTC, right here where I stand, I see through 2027 at least $1 trillion. Now, does it make any sense? And of course, he breaks down basically what's happening. He has basically called this that wasn't the year of inference, but basically that this inference is absolutely going wild. We can actually see in the financials, like what I barely need to even look at this, but you know, total revenues are spiking ridiculously. They're growing 65% year over year. And a lot of people have said with NVIDIA, they're like, hey, this CapEx is going to fall off a cliff. Now, of course, they're not going to be doing 100% growth year after year. They can't. And even this might slow down as well. But if we look at what is the expectations and the estimates from analysts, which there have been some upgrades since then, we can see that the consensus for 2027 is $367 billion. So that's still a large amount. But yeah, if you look even at the quarterly standpoint, this is, well, we'll just do billion right there. So it's easier to see. 78, 86, 90, 107, 110, and so forth. So they're not seeing it fall off a cliff. You can go further out than this as well. But basically, the analysts are all wrong. Even the most bullish of analysts, they're missing it. Now, they didn't say $1 trillion in revenue. This could be $1 trillion in orders. It doesn't get all realized by 2027. That's fine. But this is, you know, really exciting. It's not just Jensen Huang that's saying this. You know, we saw, for instance, over in TSMC that led off with earnings this quarter. They talked about the ridiculous demand. The CEO spent a whole lot of time going through and saying, hey, we've had all these interviews with not just our customers, but our customers' customers, just to make sure that the demand is real, because they're like, yeah, there is risk with this CapEx if the demand does not materialize like we expect. So they've done their homework. Jensen Huang has done his homework. Now, if this, the one other thing that we'll talk maybe about this, I want to get your response and your thoughts. We'll also talk Lisa Su and AMD too, because she said some pretty startling things as well on her end. But the thing about this is this is not some crazy man saying some outlandish number standing in a street corner somewhere in New York. But instead, this is Jensen Huang, who has said crazy outlandish things which keep coming true, which I'm inclined to believe him here. So, Tevis, what was your thoughts initially when you heard that number for the first time, and then your overall thoughts with GTC and NVIDIA?
So it's funny that you mention it like that, because that's exactly how the market is treating it. Like, it is some crazy guy screaming on the corner in New York City that we're going to $1 trillion. We did not trade up on NVIDIA at all. And Jensen is one of the people that is at the forefront from an information arbitrage perspective relative to the rest of the market. All of us watching this stream, talking on the stream, whatever, we're all outsiders. He is actually in the room when these deals are done. He gets information that we're not privy to until weeks, if not months later. And the fact that he can go from 500 billion to at least $1 trillion in a matter of months is incredibly exciting. Market's still calling BS. The market does not care. It's not trading up. NVIDIA is undervalued, and it's Adam. We haven't covered it yet. We'll get to SoFi soon.
I think next we'll do SoFi, and then we'll come back to Nebius at the end.
We'll get to SoFi. You know what I'm saying, Roy? Like he can go out there and he can say $10 trillion, and the reaction would have been exactly the same by the market because they're fundamentally just not wanting to hear it. I don't know why that's the case. Maybe they're afraid that, hey, we're going to get further job displacement and that's going to be underlying negative for the economy, or whether they think that there's a big execution risk or we can't build fast enough, or whatever the thing is in between. I don't know. It's a little bit confusing because Jensen's not the only one that's saying this. Everybody in the space is saying this. And if it's everybody in the space, how then can you completely discount the space altogether? You know what I'm saying? Like if it was just one person, like for example, SoFi, Upstart, Lending Club. Lending Club says, oh, it's a horrible environment for, it's a horrible macro environment for loans. And then SoFi comes out and they crush it on the loan side of things. It's like, okay, great. That's one person saying it. But when you have SoFi and Lending Club and Upstart and, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, and everybody says like, hey, this is happening, how do you discount that as a market? Like, I don't understand. So anyways, I found it mildly frustrating and mildly amusing, equal parts, I would say, because I listened to GTC and the keynote, and I was incredibly blown away. Just the diversity of verticals that they're playing in, from robotics to healthcare to software to data set, like everything. And yet the market just doesn't care. It does not care. They don't trade higher. They're stuck at that low 180s range. Yeah. I don't know if there is anything to market to care, quite frankly.
No, like we've talked about NVIDIA before, and I don't want to beat around the bush too much on this one. But in essence, they're between a rock and a hard place. So there's a narrative that AI is going to take over everything and destroy every other business, which Jensen has talked about, as well as many other companies and people there in the space, that it's way overstated that that's not happening. And then there's those sort of like AI CapEx is going to dry up. It's just a bubble, and that's it. Also not what we're seeing. But if you do too well, you prove one of those. You strengthen one of those. You don't prove it. And it's tough. So something external. I was actually kind of hoping that, this sounds wrong, but I was kind of hoping that the Iran conflict, I don't like the conflict. I wish it was over, but I was hoping it would at least take mind off of like those two narratives long enough that people would just kind of be like, that was an argument from a while ago. It doesn't really make much sense. But regardless, we're here. And like you said, it's one thing if it was just Jensen. TSMC, they benefit from saying things like that, but this is a much more cautious type of CEO than like what you see with Jensen Huang. You see Lisa Su, the competition, saying the same thing. And then like even more importantly, every single earnings cycle, you see this from the hyperscaler CEOs that come out and they say the same thing, even though in their case, it's actually in their vested interest to be like, yeah, we got enough CapEx. We're good. They don't do that. Why? Because they're being honest here. Now, this, of course, is going to fuel. This is just for some context. I do see a couple of people like questioning the 1 trillion amount. It is for 2 years. It's not for 1 year. It's for 2 years. So probably more in 2027 than 2026, just the way that NVIDIA is growing. Margins might be a little bit compressed just because as they're scaling out a new product. We saw this with Blackwell. We'll see it with Vera Rubin as well. Margins are a little bit lower. But yeah, that's a huge number that's thrown out there, higher than people are expecting. And the market's like, we don't believe you. For me, like frankly, I own NVIDIA. I don't have enough. It's an opportunity to add more. So I'm not too upset about that. Now, I wanted to share this clip here. This is about a 2-minute clip, I believe. Yeah, 2 minute and 10 second. Lisa Su, a very recent interview as well. Let me know if you can or cannot hear it.
You mentioned that Greg Brockman, who's the OpenAI president, was on stage with you last night, and one of the basic points that he made was there are tools and functions they would love to release and put out into the world, but they're compute constrained. I often ask you to quantify demand, but is there a way to quantify the severity in the lack of compute? You know, the deficit that's out there right now?
Well, let me just give you some numbers to kind of ground what we think the demand environment is looking like. So if you think, you know, today we have about 1 billion active users, and we're ramping that to, you know, 5 billion over the next 5 years. And we have about, let's call it 100 zettaflops of compute, you know, all around the world. I mean, that's just a generic number that aggregates all of that. You know, we think we have to increase compute by another 100 times as you go over the next, you know, 4 or 5 years. And I introduced a term last night, the yottaflop. You know, people are like, what is a yottaflop? A yottaflop is actually 10 to the 24th in terms of flops. So that's a 1 followed by 24 zeros. And to give you, you know, just a view of just how much things have really increased. I mean, that's another 100 times more compute than we have today. So that gives you an idea. Now, you think, what are you going to use all that compute for? I mean, the truth is, the models that we have today are great. I mean, they do amazing things. You know, we talked about a number of use cases. You know, perhaps you know, one that's, you know, hits very close to home is writing software. Like, you know, people are using the AI tools right now to significantly enhance the productivity of software developers. But it's good, but it can get so much better. And I mean, I think that's the key point. You know, we like to say that AI is really going to be everywhere, and it's really for everyone. And it's for each one of us to make our businesses more productive, you know, each one of us more productive, you know, going forward. And so we're still in the very early innings of really unlocking the power of AI.
You mentioned that Greg Brockman, who's
So different verbiage there, but the same exact idea as what Jensen Huang had said about being at an inflection point, about the rampant need there. Yes, it's true that it's in the vested interest of both to continue to carry out their narrative, but to date, they've been right again and again. And when you have a long track record of being right, people start to believe you, and there's good reason for it. Now, the market, for whatever reason, doesn't believe them, but this is not just something that benefits NVIDIA. It's not just something that benefits AMD. It, of course, benefits all the inference companies, including Nebius. It benefits the energy companies. It benefits the Palantirs of the world. It benefits air test systems and so many companies across the board. Now, we'll have to see. They'll have to put up the numbers in the market. For whatever reason, it's in such a skeptical mood towards earnings. Real quick before we pivot from this, any thoughts specifically on what Lisa Su said there, Tevis? And also, when do you think that this overhang with AI begins to clear up?
Yeah, no specific thoughts on the Lisa Su comments. I was reminded of Jensen's interview on CNBC a couple weeks ago, like after their earnings, where he was basically talking about how agentic is going to be the next leg to accelerate AI even further. I think when we get the overhang clearance on the market perspective is going to be in a couple of earnings from now, once we see hyperscalers, once we see the build out continue a little bit more and hyperscalers actually see some of the fruits of their CapEx, I think that's when the market is going to start to price this in, because right now it's pricing everything in with a discount because there's execution risk in between. There's demand falling out risks. There's all kinds of like funding risks, you know, for Oracle, CoreWeave, or others, for example. So I think it's fairly uncertain. And right now it's like the promises phase, let's say. And I think we're going to get to that prove it phase in a couple of quarters once it actually starts to reflect in the financials and we get an acceleration and, you know, double beats, and the guidance looks good going forward. Now, I think the more nuanced thing is, what is this going to look like from the macro perspective with jobs coming into the way they are? I mean, Meta announcing up to 20% cuts. I know a lot of companies are going to blame AI because it's an easy scapegoat to blame. But if we do get the improvements at the same rate that we've been getting them from Claude and others, Jensen at GTC introduced this NemoClaw concept, where it's like OpenClaw for enterprises. And it's coming from a very reputable source, man. It's not like, Peter Steinberger, great, very smart dude, but it's a dude on the internet, with a GitHub repo. It's not the biggest company in the world. And so I think that with those connections, more and more companies are going to move to adopt something like a NemoClaw, and they're going to accelerate the timeline in which they find value from agentic AI in their organization. And ultimately, that's going to lead to some cuts. I mean, the first thing that our CEO said, once we started using Claude, was like, hey, how can we reduce OpEx by 15 to 20%? And the easiest way to do that is to cut people. I don't love that that's the direction, but that's what I'm seeing, at least.
Yeah. Especially as far as coders, I think there'll be some of that, customer service possibly as well. But that's the thing with like the OpenClaw and NVIDIA solution is, I've not used it, but I've seen that there are massive security concerns with using it. And it absolutely makes sense. Like it was incredible that it was created by one guy, in a short little bit of time. But NVIDIA, they have a whole team of very credible engineers there. They do great on software too, which is actually pretty rare for companies that are really good in hardware. I think a lot of people will absolutely use that. They want to use that. They just don't have the rampant security concerns. So yeah, they're positioned well. I have little doubt that what Jensen said is going to come true. And he's even basically stating in that GTC that they can't even keep up with demand with that $1 trillion figure over the next 2 years. So a lot more to come with this. I think we're actually early, not super early, but not late for sure. That there's a lot more meat on the bone for this AI trade, although it's not going to go up in a straight line. And frankly, that's healthy. Anything else on this, or shall we talk about either SOFI or NBIS?
Whichever you prefer, man. I mean, we can move into, let's move into NBIS first, because it's AI related, and then we'll end on SOFI.
Blame him. I was willing to cover SOFI right here, but he's like, hey, no, let's wait. So no, I'm just kidding. So NBIS. So like, honestly, dude, I'm gonna let you share all the stuff that happened here, but I'm just gonna like share real quickly. Because of Tevis pounding the table again and again. I was a NBIS before he was, but it was an invest and investigate. I got out with, I don't know, like a 70% gain or something. It's in the 40s when I got out. I was buying in the 20s. So anyway, ended up that I had an opportunity to get back in just because the market way oversold NBIS. Sadly, the $70 cash secure puts didn't fill. I just bought shares, in the actual low 80s. I think it's about $80 or 81. My average is in the low 80s still. Sold some covered calls, Tevis. About half my position, and had to roll them from 115 last week. And I was like, I don't want to pay money to roll these. That would be painful, and I don't like doing that. Let me roll it up to 118 because it doesn't cost me anything. And then, of course, Monday ripped, and I'm like, oh, goodness, like, I'll roll them out for another couple of weeks, but at some point I just have to be happy with, what is it, a 70% gain probably if I keep rolling. So in a short amount of time, I'm like, you always take this. Like, there's nothing wrong. It was half my position. But today I'm like, oh, there is hope. So I'm thankful for that. So break us down over the last couple of days. A lot of news. What exactly happened, and what are some of the highlights that stand out for you and implications?
So last week, NVIDIA announced they're going to be investing $2 billion in NBIS. And they also said that NBIS is going to do 5 gigawatts on NVIDIA hardware by 2030. And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday, news came out around Meta doing $27 billion deal with NBIS. And basically, Meta did a $3 billion deal at some point late last year in November, I believe it was, or October, maybe. Or maybe earlier, maybe it was like September. But anyways, NBIS did a deal with Meta for $3 billion. And in that earnings call, it must have been Q3, the CEO said, hey, we basically couldn't do more with Meta because we're supply constrained. We're selling them everything that we're able to, and they're collecting prepayments. So there's a couple of aspects to this, okay? Now, this latest deal with Meta is $27 billion. $12 billion is like guaranteed business with NBIS. So from 3 to 12, 4x increase, right? Now, what Meta said was, we're going to do an additional $15 billion in flexible capital. So basically, if you guys have any leftover, product essentially that you haven't sold anywhere else, we'll happily take it off your hands, is what Meta said. Now, that's a crazy position to be in, first of all, like from what you can charge from a demand perspective, like the leverage you have. And without giving away like my full NBIS recap, which is coming up maybe in like an hour from now, it's really a dominant position that NBIS is in because they now have a floor price where they can charge more to other companies, third parties. And if the third parties don't want to pay more, it doesn't matter. We have a guaranteed buyer in Meta. Meta said we're going to buy all you can produce up to an additional $15 billion if you have it. So like think of it this way. Like I want to sell you this water bottle, and Roy's like, all right, I got you. I'm going to buy that water bottle for $5. And if I know that Roy is going to buy it for $5, I can then go to the next guy and I can say, do you want to buy it for $6? I can go to the next guy and say, do you want to buy it for $7? Go to the next guy and say, do you want to buy it for $8? And if they all say no, then worst case scenario, I just give it to Roy for $5. Right? But I can do that now because I have somebody putting a floor price on my product. And that's really cool because NBIS already has amazing margins, but this is going to allow them to get even higher margins because Meta is saying, hey, whatever margins you have right now, you'll not go lower than that. Don't worry about it. We got you. And that's really exciting.
That to me, like, was the most amazing part of it. I think you guys have been talking about a Meta partnership for a while, or at least another hyperscaler partnership. And I'm like, hey, I've not been as focused on NBIS until recently. So I'm like, that was cool. Seeing them basically complete all the financing that they likely need for 2026. That's also very cool. But yeah, Meta basically saying, hey, here's a guarantee. You're going to make a lot of money or you're going to make even more money. But either way, we are here for you. That's astounding, man. So you have any covered calls?
Yeah, so I have granted this is like on a third of my position, so it's not like significant. I have covered calls for 140 for March 27th. And obviously NBIS was down like 11% today. So my covered calls were looking I was like, damn it, I might lose these shares yesterday. But then today I was like, okay, cool, like that's fine. But I should have closed my cash secured puts because I was up quite a bit on those, and I was talking to, but dude, I have such spotty internet. I was like traveling around because I have 115s, 110s, and $90 cash secured puts for May 15th. Roy,
yeah,
let me tell you the premiums I collected on those, because when I wrote those, NBIS was like $85 or something. I collected $39, $43, and then $14. So I haven't closed them out yet, but they're like 75% in profit right now because obviously it was all like, if you're writing a put for 115 when NBIS is at 90, you already have like, the difference baked in right there. What is that, like $25 baked in? Anyways, so I think the capital raise was very good because if you think about the capex for 2026, they said 16 to 20 billion in capex. I'm pretty sure they're now at that level, right? They had 7.5, I think, billion plus 2 from NVIDIA, plus almost 4 from this capital raise. And then any other prepayments that they get, they might be a couple billion short, depending on, but they're pretty much there.
And the senior convertible notes. So we don't know the terms yet. Once they close these, we'll know exactly all the figures and everything. And I'm sure Tevis over here will break those down for us. But one thing that we do know specifically is that there's a $560 million additional rider. And especially these days, where senior convertible notes are a lot more common just because of the way the interest rates are, it's incredibly likely that that's filled. Like I would put it at like a 1% chance it doesn't get filled. Something weird would have to happen. So yeah, regardless, if they're not all the way there on their capital raises necessary, they're very close for 2026. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to raise capital before the end of the year. We need to be careful with that as investors. Like that's part of, if you're buying a NBIS, there's such a need for CapEx spend. That's why they're growing 500%. So be prepared for dilution. It's going to happen. They'll do it again before the end of the year because they don't want to be like near zero entering January. They can't do that. So, but for myself, like I'm very, very, very happy that it came back down, that my covered calls are actually no longer underwater. I didn't close them yet. I might even roll them out and forward just for some extra comfort. But man, those premiums, you're right, Tevis. Like that was the most ridiculous thing when I sell those cash secured puts on NBIS. I'm like, okay, the price is already stupid, and then you're giving me this premium on top of it. Like, oh man. With beyond that, okay, so the partnership with NVIDIA. So beyond the financing stuff, something that came out today between both NVIDIA and NBIS, and also a separate announcement, CrowdStrike and NBIS. Do you want to talk us through either of those, Tevis, and just like why they're making these partnerships? What do they actually do for the ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, the partnerships are good. I think like this is the second NVIDIA partnership like this week, in addition to the investment from NVIDIA last week. And then CrowdStrike, yeah, they're going to integrate Falcon, CrowdStrike's product. So like it's good. I don't think that's like the main thing. I found it interesting that they all dropped on like the same day. But yeah, essentially adding a layer of cybersecurity from CrowdStrike for AI models is obviously beneficial. Is it going to be like a major needle mover across the board? I don't think so over the medium or long term. Of course, the CrowdStrike partnership is they're integrating the Falcon platform into NBIS's AI cloud environment, and it's basically going to improve this detection and response across the runtime environments, across the infrastructure in general. So it's good. It's a step in the right direction. It's not like earth-shattering stuff. I think the Meta deal is massive. I think another hyperscaler is on the way, whether it's Google or Amazon. More news around the data centers are on the way. Like those are big, ground moving things. So
yeah, the reason why I'm thinking it's Amazon, like we can see that they're already capital constrained with what they're doing in-house, and it makes total sense for them to lock up capacity that they don't have to use CapEx on. I think shareholders, if they continue increasing at the rate they're increasing, they're not going to be happy. So, I mean, it could be Google though. Like they have a product, the demand is insane. You're hearing this from anybody that knows anything in the space. So, and then the last thing, like just to add to what you said on the CrowdStrike and then the NVIDIA deal as well, what NBIS is building is not just the bare metal. That's more of a CoreWeave thing. There's nothing wrong with that, and they're still going to do just fine. But at some point, inference is going to become mostly a commodity. It's going to take a while. There's a absolute ridiculous margins right now anyway. But when that happens, the way that you differentiate yourself, at least in my mind, is through something like Nebius is building, which is that NeoCloud. Now they've done the Tavili acquisition, to help strengthen that. They're doing partnerships like with CrowdStrike and with NVIDIA as well to give strength and credence and credibility and actually get some of these like VCs onboarded, just so they're actually used to using their NeoCloud. So it's absolutely the right approach. It is a little bit slower than what CoreWeave is able to do, but it's an easy. I mean, like even here, I'm out of funds is a problem. Even here, I have no problem adding Nebius, and it's near an all-time high. So, thank you for getting me in there. Oh, and before I forget, I don't want to forget this. Osiris asked me what my Venmo was. He sent a rather large gift, a very nice gift. Said, "Get a nice dinner, doctor. Congratulations." Osiris, I thanked you in chat, but also just thank you for your gift. And yeah, just for those that are not in the know, I saw a couple people saying Dr. Roy. I'm not going to usually do that. It's for fun. I defended successfully my dissertation on Thursday. So I'm in a weird gray area where every single requirement is passed. The registrar confirmed that actually today. And they said, hey, it's 5 or 6 weeks for degree conferral. So I can't put it on paper yet at all, but I can be called doctor. So yeah. And I'm not a medical doctor, so no, I can't prescribe you anything. Other than more SOFI, just kidding, not financial advice. But more SOFI content? Maybe. You ready to go there?
Sure. Yeah. Again, I haven't read the report, guys. I literally just walked in 10 minutes before we were about to hop on the stream.
Oh, but actually, I needed to show one more thing. I forgot. I wanted to show the price targets on Nebius. Analysts are not actually very good at tracking Nebius yet. If you look at a lot of the earnings that they've missed, and it's not because Nebius has missed on what they're doing, but instead analysts. But price targets are certainly interesting. So, like one of those phenomena that I saw, Tevis, that it really interested me when I was just on the sidelines was usually the way the analysts work is when the price action is down and not doing so well, they all of a sudden, which has been the case, they lower price targets. It just let's be safe, let's be measured. Instead, what I saw was a reiteration of prior price targets and even raising as well. And I'm not sure that this even contains the highest, but 291 is not looking too shabby. It's also nice to see, you can see the revisions. There was a little bit of that, but yeah, here there's been a really nice hike just from what's happened recently. And you can see the number of analysts as well. Actually, that's just for price targets. On revenue, there's a decent amount of analysts that are now covering Nebius versus last year, there was one. Or I guess that's 2 years ago.
We got 3 price target updates yesterday. We got our initiation from Citi. And since you're doing that, I'll just talk my own book. We got our initiation from Citigroup at $169 yesterday. We also got BWS raised their price target from 130 to 200. And then we also got another price target raise from 150 to 200 by DA Davidson. So these are the 3 that came in yesterday, March 16th.
It's a good looking tool there, Tevis.
Yeah, thanks, man. I made it myself.
For those not in the know, Tevis has literally made this, vibe coded it. It's a good tool. You can see paperpanda.io.
Yes,
exactly. It's like, is it IO? It is IO. So yeah,
I just
start typing paper and it's there. All right, let's talk some SOFI then. So SOFI specifically, let me note the time when we begin. The biggest thing to know, there was a short report that was released. Now, as is often the case, but not always the case, I didn't recognize the name at all. Let me first kind of show you what's public information, and then I'll talk about like the actual report, some things that are in the report, and my take, and also Noda's response, which we definitely have to look at too. So this is not a small account by any means. They have about 250,000 followers, and they have a lot of reports. They are somewhat infamous, I think, beyond just SOFI, of like shorting AppLovin and reiterating that a number of times. They've apparently done some really good work on some Chinese firms. I don't pay attention to those, so yeah. But anyway, they say, we believe SOFI is a financial engineering treadmill. Not a healthy origination business. GE Capital style marks, Enron-esque off-balance sheet structures, and relentless dilution. Have you ever heard of this company before, Tevis? This Enron? There's somebody out there in our audience that has not.
Wow.
If you look up Enron in the dictionary, you'll find the definition is fraud. So that's basically all you need to know. One of the greatest financial engineering fraudulent companies in history. So this guy's essentially saying he doesn't use the F word once in his report, the fraud word, but he uses everything but that word. So I'm actually kind of wondering if this is actionable. Anyway, in the process, SoFi appeared to have borrowed $312 million that we believe is not reported on the financials. So again, they're like, hey, fraud. The loan platform business that replaced secured loans looks like disguised borrowing booked as fee income. There it goes again. Analogous to Enron's VIEs. After adjusting what we view as inflated marks, off-balance sheets, borrowing, and capital expenses, we reduced SoFi's 2025 adjusted EBITDA by 90% from $1 billion to $103 million. Management gets paid for diluting you. I think that, that is it. Now, the reason why I'm not showing the full report is if you go here, it's free. You have to read the terms and conditions. And I actually do want to read, because there's a little bit more here that they go through. But they're basically like, you can't use any of this. If you do, legal consequences. So I'm not going to go into that. Now, the one thing, this is the most important thing, though, here, Tevis. So shorters make their money in one of several ways. Sometimes they have, like the Bear Cave, where they just write to people that have been subscribers, and they make the money off that way. Frankly, I think Michael Burry is also following that same model these days. Sometimes it's through advertising or doing short reports for a certain firm, but more commonly, it is just through shorting the stock directly. And I actually respect that more. I've always been skeptical of those that do not put their own money on the table. And these guys do certainly do this. Now, the thing is with these guys, it's very dangerous to short. A lot of credible firms like Hindenburg, which is no longer shorting actively, but they've done a lot of good things. They were wrong on some things too. Regardless, even they don't post very good gains at all. It is usually not profitable to be short. Anyway, they say here, as of the time and date of each report, Muddy Waters is short the securities of or derivatives linked to the securities on the subject issuer. So they're saying, hey, we're short. And then right here, Tevis. Now, this is not just a SoFi thing. They have this writer, at least in the ones that I looked. If you click here, you can see the research reports. But it says, upon the publication of each report, we intend to begin covering a substantial majority of our short positions. Our risk reduction is not a reflection of a lack of conviction in our opinions or the facts presented. Rather, it has to do with managing risk in a manner that is prudent for a fiduciary of our investors' money. So in other words, the moment this report came out, they unloaded. They're like, okay, great. And sure enough, if we pull up the stock price action, we got into the 16s just because of this short report. So they came around, maybe they made a cool 5 or 6%, called it a day. If it's millions of dollars, that's a lot of money that they make for doing just something like this, which largely a lot of it is recycled arguments on fair value lending. So the one thing that I wanted to share right here that they didn't have on X is we calculate SoFi's personal loan charge-off rate as really being approximately 6.1% versus 2.89% it reports. SoFi's student loan business appears to exist primarily to generate fair value gains, which is the stupidest thing. Did he not research the company? For management bonuses, not for strategic or economic reasons. SoFi's secured loan business, seemingly unbeknownst to the market, is a seller finance whole loan sell program. SoFi's loan platform business is not a capital light toll booth generating fee income. It appears to be a wet funded forward flow transaction, a disguised form of borrowing whose loan proceeds SoFi books as fee income. All right, Tevis. Thoughts?
This is not the first short report we've ever seen with SoFi. People love to bag on SoFi, man. I found the disclaimer really frustrating. I haven't read the report, so I can't talk to the strengths or weaknesses of the actual, arguments yet. probably going to be some homework that I do tonight is take a look at the report and see if it's actually legit. I think the comparison to Enron is, oh man, there's so many things that are in the gray area here, and I want to stay as like objective as possible, but I think that comparison to Enron is very charged language. And unless that report backs up that SoFi is literally, doing some fraudulent embezzling of funds or whatever, then it's like, all right, well, that's all of a sudden just reputational damage.
Well, so one thing that I'll share too, like, and I want you to go on in just a second. Deloitte does the accounting for SoFi, major firm. Yeah, I mean it's like one of the big three. But I mean I'm sure that they'll miss the occasional thing. They don't play around with this, and if this was material at all, Deloitte would have done what happened with SMCI, where their accounting firm was like, "We're stepping away. We can't do this anymore," and that was a major red flag. Anyway, they said in the short report, like, Deloitte may not be aware of this. It's like, may not be aware of, and I forget what it was exactly, but it was something that's in their 10Q every single quarter, which literally Deloitte looks over. So they're basically not only just accusing SoFi of fraud, but they're accusing those that are using the loan platform business of SoFi of being idiots and losing money, and also Deloitte being really sloppy and lazy. I'm like, okay, bro, come on.
Yeah, like I don't understand, and this is not a SoFi specific qualm I have. I don't understand how people can just publish anything that they want, saying anything that they want, and stocks will move on this and they have no repercussions. Like if I go and I publish some hit piece on a celebrity, for example, I'll get hit with a defamation lawsuit. It's a reputational risk, and as a result, they're going to seek damages off the back of that reputational risk. How is it any different from public companies when you fail to read all the public knowledge? I'm not saying that Muddy Waters has done this. Again, I haven't read the report, guys. I'm just saying, how can you throw out comparisons to Enron and other companies like this when it might just be something where it's a gray area that they hadn't cleared up, or it's something that they might have missed in the report on either side, right? I think that's the piece that really irritates me. And on top of that, the fact that they had a short position before they made this report, and now that they're covering their short position, knowing that the report is going to move the stock, and they're saying, oh, well, it's just prudent for us to do so. There's no repercussions on them at all. It's like, how about if shorts were held accountable for all the things that they accused companies of, and if in fact they had their short, once they put out their report, they have to hold it for a period of whatever, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. They have to hold their short on. They can't just close it the moment that they publish. Like, it's stupid, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I can't just say, I can't go short a company and be like, oh, behind closed doors, I spoke with so-and-so CEO, and he told me that he's, taking out money to his personal account. Sorry, gotta close my short. Like, how I don't know. I don't understand. It's just confusing to me, man.
Yeah, like, to be fair, bulls can do the opposite too. Like, there's large accounts that if they mention a stock, people flock in, they buy that stock. And the person that mentioned it probably already was long, had calls. It's like, all right, great, I'm going to take some profit now, or I'm going to get out. Happens all the time. SEC should absolutely crack down on that. It's hard to prove is a thing. People are asking and saying, is this actionable? Can SoFi sue? Yeah, I mean, like, you can sue for anything. They might. I don't know that they would necessarily. Muddy Waters, if you look at the terms and agreements, like, they clearly had a lawyer that knows what they're doing. Write that up and draft that up. So beyond that, they dodged using the fraud word, but frankly, Enron is synonymous with fraud, and they use a lot of other synonyms as well. So yeah, like, the SEC should absolutely go after this. SoFi, I don't know if they should or not. I don't know if they will or not, but they could if they wanted to. The outcome of that, I'm not sure. But we'll have to see. Now, Did you see, like some people are asking, will SoFi respond at least? There may be a chance. SoFi is more conservative with things like this. They absolutely should. And I think like the 312 million of unrecorded debt, I looked at their argument. I didn't have time to look at the actual filings. It's a Tuesday. It's a busy day. And so that's like one of the things where I'm like, is there something here? Like, I don't know. I need to take a look. Everything else on that was either an old argument or just like either completely not understanding SoFi at all, or really stretching the truth a whole lot. So if they outright came out and said fraud, absolutely they would go after them. This, maybe they dance close enough to the line to not get burned, but I don't know, man. Noto did respond, though. Did you see Noto's response?
I didn't. We'll put that up. And look, so this user says, well, what if SoFi is running a fraud? And like, okay, sure. It is not outside the realm of possibilities. There is a possibility that SoFi is, the next Bernie Madoff. I get it. There is a possibility. It's not zero. But the fact that now we're getting questions like this is exactly why this short report irritates the hell out of me. Is it because it introduces it plants a seed in people's mind that, oh, what if, like, I'm not smart enough to understand the nuances of what they're doing with regards to their loan book and whatnot, and what their delinquency risks are, and whatever the hell Muddy Waters is arguing. And it's so irritating because, like, you can make a note and you can start to now introduce doubt in people's minds. And you tell me in the chat, like, oh, well, the people that have doubt in their minds are not true believers and this and that, and they need to do their own homework. And I get it, but like, let's be real here. You're talking to ordinary people who don't have time to be a full-on analyst. And so there's an inherent responsibility that comes with somebody being an analyst and any other position, right? Or a journalist. There's some type of integrity or a bar that should be met in theory. And the fact is that bar is like, they play jump rope with that bar.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is it's hard to illustrate harm in this kind of context, especially when the stock price bounced back so quickly because of Noto's response. But it's a gray area. We'll have to see how they respond. But this was a response that we got today. So throw this up.
Yeah.
Noto bought more. This was his response. Now, we talked about in the past, and using Tevis's excellent Paper Panda tool, we can see a pattern in Noto's buys that he never buys in a quarter, and that's it. Usually they come in twos or even sometimes threes. So here he bought. We can see he had a nice low price of $17.31 and 8.89. 11 million shares were actually purchased as a result of this. So a good chunk of money, not the largest buy that he's ever had, but it's a good size nevertheless. So that's one of the reasons why the stock price went up a little bit after hours as well. Two things on the fraud stuff. One is you don't see, at least to my knowledge, I don't think it's been done. If a company is knowingly participating in fraud, insiders are not buying. That makes no sense. Second, if you were going to pick a company or a type of company to commit large-scale fraud and benefit materially from PSUs, RSUs, and so forth, would you pick the most regulated space in the most regulated country in the world? No, you would not. You would not pick banking at all. Maybe fintech, maybe a neobank, maybe something in AI. Not a bank. There are so many checks and balances, especially since, one last thing, especially since 2008. Like the firm that you cited, like if 2008 protections that were put in there after the great financial crisis were already there, that would have not occurred. So it's even harder these days. Go on.
Yeah, it's definitely harder these days. What I was going to say is like, hey, we've seen fraud in finance in this vertical more so than other verticals as well. Like 2008 examples, Bernie Madoff examples. Like there's plenty of examples that are in that finance space, finance, investing, whatever, where you've seen it. And so, but I agree with you. Like, I think if the actual safeguards are doing what they're meant to do, then it's much easier in other verticals to do this kind of stuff. It's just, and no, Adrian, I haven't read the short report yet. Again, I literally just got home, so I don't want to talk through any points in the short report just yet. I'll probably end up making a full video about it. There could be valid points in there. There could be total BS in there. I haven't read through it.
So yeah, I had a 5-minute video. I had very little response on X, and the reason is this guy's strategy, for the most part, AppLovin, I think, was an exception that proves the rule, is to short, distort, and then get out real quick with a quick gain. That's how short sellers make money, that or subscription revenue. So that's just his model. He's gone. Like if he has SoFi left, it's not very much, especially after this buy.
Yeah.
I would like, for the record, I would like SoFi to come out and just, clear up and say, hey, you can see this here. This is actually not like so forth. But I don't know. Sometimes we don't get that.
I get it, man. Like it's in many aspects, like it's not even worth it for these companies to come out because A, they give more publicity to these stupid short reports. And then B, it's like, well, this is a, $20 billion company now responding to a report by some random, short, like there's some gazillion freaking short firms out there issuing their own short reports. I just think it's like really annoying how the stock actually moves on the back of these short reports. And it should be the job of the SEC to be policing everything, not necessarily the job. Like SoFi can come out and clarify the points. I agree with that. But then for SoFi to be like the arbiter, I just think it's in like they're putting a lot of weight in stuff that's not directly, related to the fundamentals of the business. And yeah. I agree. I hope they do it in this particular case. I hope they respond. Noto said in our interview, he's like, hey, if these analysts are putting out bullshit price targets and we want to vet that, look at their other work and see what they're also doing. So I hope they do it from that perspective, just for the self-satisfaction, but it's not going to make, like they've already made their money shorting, right? They did the report, opened the short before they published the report, closed the short the moment the report was published. Like they're out, man. They're out. Well, should we talk about what should happen? How can we avoid this in the past? Like they're just counting their money at this point, right? And so like they're on to the next company that they're going to do this for. So it's just really frustrating.
Yeah. This, not SoFi, obviously, but if you can throw it up, it's Alex Karp, an analyst. And I think Anthony Noto can probably relate to this, and honestly, most CEOs.
Like another lesson that we all have to learn is there are no experts. There's no one to trust but yourself. As you may have discovered reading vast reports about your own businesses from people that seem to not understand your business at all. And it's like one of the craziest things you can do, learning experiences you can have as someone in business, is read about your business from a third party. It's like, wait a minute. They just made this shit up. It's like, you want to read the most hilarious thing, work with us and then go read a short sell memo on Palantir. It'll be.
Yeah, I think most CEOs hate short reports and short sellers. Now, there's some that are fraudulent that hate it because, like, hey, we hate being exposed, but that's not what's going on with any of these companies. But they hate the misinformation. Like, just it's hard enough out there to get correct information, even with bears there. When you have short sellers that are deliberately distorting, pulling things out, just saying some ridiculous things. Like for Palantir, we talked about this before, that Michael Burry was harping on the amount that Alex Karp spent on private jets, even though he owns the jet, as far as, and using some junior analysts' figures, like estimating in like the smallest, most conservative plane. And it's like, you're talking about a $17 million expense for a company that made $4 billion last year that's growing 70% year over year. Give me a break. Like, So yeah, the SoFi stuff though, like we're not telling you guys, by the way, don't read it or whatever. It's a free report. If you're a SoFi investor, you know you should kind of get used to things like this. You should take a look into it, analyze it, see what it says, check the facts out for yourself. If you can throw up, because I saw it was a start
so
comment.
cool. I don't want to interrupt you, but like just breaking news. SoFi did just responded. They just put out this tweet from SoFi IR. We issued a response to the inaccurate short seller report, and it leads you to this page. Okay, and
Good job, Chris.
We're going to read this together. Okay. Quote. Sorry, Roy, did you say something?
I said good job, Chris.
Okay. Quote. The claims made in the Muddy Waters report demonstrate a fundamental lack of understanding of our financial statements and business. We intend to explore potential legal action against Muddy Waters for the factually inaccurate and misleading report they shared about our business today. They're known for producing reports designed to erode shareholder value solely to allow short sellers to profit from a declined stock price. In fact, their report discloses their intent to begin covering a substantial majority, possibly all of their short position immediately upon publication, and therefore they stand to profit from their own misleading report. We have reviewed the full report, and we believe it's designed to deceive investors. SoFi maintains strong confidence in our integrity in our financial reporting. We're a highly regulated public company with financial statements and extensive disclosures prepared in the conformity with the US GAAP and the rules and the regulations of the SEC, supported by robust internal controls and procedures. Additionally, we are a bank holding company regulated by the Federal Reserve and operate a bank that is regulated by the OCC, among other regulators. In other words, go F yourself, Muddy Waters. I really hope they do pursue legal action, man, because it's going to send a message for other shorts. It's just, I could feel the anger in Anthony Noto reading that note.
Like, it's fine if you want to be short and you're like, hey, you know, like I think that they mentioned the Blue Owl Capital private equity stuff. Like that's a known thing. But like that is a serious risk they could have talked about, which they didn't. Lower rate cuts this year. There's legitimate things you could be like concerned about, worry about. You can be short even for dumb reasons if you want. You can't make up facts. You can't. And they've basically done that. And also at the same time said, these guys are a bunch of fraudsters and liars. I hope they go after them. I really do. But yeah, and like you said, it not only for this, but also it does send that message to others that want to, like if they want to do short reports, fine. You can't make up stuff. And if you do, you're going to get sued.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that Muddy Waters has been seriously investigated in the past and has a documented track record, in being in trouble with the SEC is like, I don't want to base any new report that they have in the future based on that, but like it does lay the groundwork for some nefarious underlying ulterior motive because they're profiting off of their research in a direct way, and they've gotten in trouble for that exact thing in the past. I don't know. I'm going to read their...
Well, all on that, like them getting... and they've been sued before, actually, too. But I think pretty much every short seller will have like the exact same sort of language that they've been investigated. Like that happens. It's inevitable in that trade. So I don't know that anything actually comes of this necessarily, but I know one thing. If they do sue them, you would... if you were doing any kind of fraud at all, not want to sue at all. It would make zero sense. So that might also be why they go after this. And
you're
even if they're like, hey, you know, it's
for that discovery, for that investigation, right?
Oh yeah,
so
you can't do it.
I don't like it because it's an overhang, right? But like, I like it for the fact that I'm kind of sick and tired of being, the punching bag and the laughing stock of the countless short reports we've seen over the last 5 years invested in SoFi. We've seen so many, and it's just annoying because they have a fundamental lack of understanding around what the actual business is. Like, I'm bullish on SoFi, not because I'm compensated by SoFi. I'm not, or not because I'm, a stan for SoFi. I'm not. I try to be as objective as I possibly can. I'm bullish as a result of my having done the homework personally. I can probably get you some bear cases on SoFi and make a better argument than these short reports. But if I do that, it would be, number one, less salacious, and number two, more nuanced, because it's actually based in reality. But going out and calling a company basically Enron is, quite frankly, bullshit, and I hope they get their ass sued.
Yeah, it's below the belt for sure. Okay, can you throw up the second comment that you pinned, because it's related to this? How can Tevis and Dr. Roy give an unbiased opinion on SoFi? You literally hosted SoFi's on your channel, so let's hear you to spin this narrative. I've not had Anthony Noah on my channel, so that's actually wrong. Second, for myself, when we had SoFi Weekly regularly, I was probably the most typical bearish, to the point where, and I know that we have some SoFi Weekly viewers in the audience, you guys could say this, like, I was not particularly liked on the channel by the viewers. Outside of my channel, and thank you for you guys for your support, the rest were like, Roy's always bearish, he doesn't own SoFi, he loves Robinhood, like all these other things. And I was long the whole time. But the thing is, I always call it like I see it, whether it's something that I think is great and is going to help the stock or not, doesn't mean I always get it right. And I do feel like I was justified with that first dilution. I was against it. The rest of the panel was for it. Chris, actually, Data-Driven Investing, was against it too. So I had somebody at least in my camp. Most viewers are like, this is great. I was like, no. I've been very antagonistic towards the CTO. I still think Jeremy Rochelle should get fired. And I have criticized SoFi on a number of things in the past. There's a whole lot of good there, though. It's an incredible company. Noto is a great CEO. So I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to say I'm unbiased, because truly nobody in this world is perfectly unbiased. But I'll let my bias be known, but I'll call facts the way I see them. And Tevis is likewise a person that's not afraid to speak his mind. If you've followed him on this channel for long, you know that.
Yeah, I mean, even on the stream, right? So I think I sort of answered this question partly before we even threw up the comment. When I started joining the SoFi Weekly crew with Riley and Amit and Tanner and them, like 4 years ago, SoFi was not in my top 3 positions. It was not in my top 5 positions back then. It grew to my first position as I learned more and more about the company. And it wouldn't have done that if I wasn't bullish on the actual results of the company. I've listened to every single earnings call for the last like 5 years of this company. I've like live streamed them. And so don't let the fact that I had Noto on the channel sway you to say that, oh, I'm like incredibly biased. It's like, I've been biased way before I had Noto on the channel, like years before I had Noto on the channel. And the reason I'm biased is because I genuinely think it's a good company. And I'm biased about Nebula. I'm biased about every company that I hold as well. I wouldn't be freaking holding the stock if I wasn't biased, man. So like, I don't understand this argument. Like, I'm inherently bullish. That's why I'm putting my own hard-earned money behind it. But the fact remains that like, you have to, like, similar to the short report, right? Like, if you got somebody brought up the puzzle, similar to the short report, right? Like, if you look at the incentives, then like if okay, so let me try to articulate what I want to say. You have to look at the argument at its face value. SoFi is going up because X, Y, and Z. These are my 3 bull cases for SoFi, why they're going down. Muddy waters. SoFi is going down because X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's layer 1. Layer 2 is then, what are the inherent incentives that these guys have to say the things that they do? What are the ulterior motives behind their words? Okay, in Tevis's case, it's okay, he has shares. If SoFi goes up, then he will profit. In Muddy Waters, they have a short. If SoFi goes down, they'll profit. The reason why I'm pissed off with them and not with me, which Kryptonite could go towards bias, is they're closing their position right after their short report. I've held long on SoFi since I bought them at $23, all the way down to $4, and I kept buying and buying and buying and buying, and all the way back up to $32, and all the way back down now to $17 again. I'm still holding. I'm not even thinking about selling because my actions are congruent with my words. I am invested in the long term because I believe in the fundamental prospects of this business to compound over the long term. If I was saying that and then I won't go ahead and sell tomorrow because there's some news, that would make me a hypocrite, right? But so the point is like any stock you own, you're biased on that stock. So cut the bullshit on the bias. I haven't read the Muddy Waters report, and I already said even before this comment that there might be valid points in there. I think the comparison is wild.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not trading around my SoFi position, right? Like I'm just holding, and I think it's going to go. I think it's going to do well. Now, if it ends up being a fraud and I lose all my money, then that's my own fault. But yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. We're all biased in our own ways, but that doesn't mean like I take like one of those things, and I know you do this too, Tevis. If you look at the people that I follow, it's not too many people on X. And some of the people you might be like really surprised to be like, isn't that guy a bear on like all the stocks that Roy owns? And the answer is yes, and that's why I follow them. Because there are some, like the Muddy Waters saying that they're just throwing junk out there to try to make the stock go down so they can make a buck. There are some very sincere bears, or not like perma bears necessarily, but they're bearish on positions that I have that, you know, are well-intentioned. They just see things differently. Like they're not making up facts or anything. And why I want to follow those guys is to break out of the echo chamber. Like I want to also consider the weaknesses of the companies that I'm in because I want to have that full, complete bull and bear case. I'm not like a lot of the stocks that I'm in have insane bull and ultra bull cases, but some of them have a lot of risk too, and I need to also consider that and weight that. So I follow those guys to break out of the echo chamber. I find it necessary. Doesn't mean I'm unbiased. Yeah, like that's the thing. It could be. It seems like, especially with Noto, I don't know. Yeah, read the report itself, but it did not seem like it was in good faith at all. So we'll have to see. I like that. I like their response though.
Yeah. Oh man, can you imagine if they win some money off of a lawsuit from Muddy Waters and they use it to buy back shares? Like, oh, the best. Just pure satisfaction of the soul.
Messaging our favorite Chris at SoFi.
Yeah.
Like you could tell from that press release, it's like, dude, that's got to be Chris. Already paying dividends for being over there. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover, Tevis? Or are we ready? We're an hour and 12 minutes in to move to Q&A.
I think we can move. I'm fired up enough where we can just move to Q&A at this point.
All right, sounds good.
Marking some questions. Yeah, so you guys can ask your questions, and we will cover them in Q&A, which is starting right now. Dylan says, I mean, selling at 30 would have been smart. Just because you believe in the stock doesn't mean you should hold it once it gets ridiculously expensive. I think ridiculously expensive is a subjective thing. I didn't think it was ridiculously expensive at 30. I thought it was closer to fair value. But how am I to know that this is going to stop? It's going to peak at 32 and it's going to go back to 17. If you had a crystal ball that you knew that, of course you would sell it at 32 and you just buy more shares at 17, but you don't. And so that's the whole thing around holding for the long term. Because, I mean, look at some other stocks, right? Like Robinhood went to 32 and then it just went to 140. So if you had been like, oh, yeah, this thing is equally valued at 30, it's like, great, you missed out on $100 worth of gains. Brain Cancer Warrior, we covered SoFi's response. We actually read it live on this stream. So definitely rewind by about 20 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. What to hear about Nebius? We covered Nebius.
Yeah, look at the 23-minute mark. We covered Nebius. Lots of news on that this week.
The puzzle is in a different continent right now, Harry. It's not on me. I didn't bring it with me. NVIDIA is not at 200 yet, and the puzzle is not solved yet. The prophecy is still unfulfilled. Nebius or CoreWeave leaps to January 2028. Who do you got? I personally have Nebius.
Yeah, I don't have any leaps, but yeah, if I was going to pick between the two, it'd be Nebius. Both will probably do well, but I think Nebius will do better.
Yeah.
Although the funny thing is, whenever CoreWeave has news that comes out that's negative, Nebius gets hit. It's like, come on.
Ironically, whenever Nebius has news that's positive, CoreWeave goes up because CoreWeave is up like 6% or 7% yesterday. It's like these mofos.
Of course. Yeah. Is it at least down on Nebius's capital raise? I gotta see. That would be fair. Yeah, it's down 4%. Okay, that's stupid, but maybe there's a different reason, but probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it says amid debt concerns. I don't know. I mean, like that is for sure an issue with their strategy. I think Nebius is superior.
Did SOFI get included in the S&P? Yes, of course. They got it. And Muddy Waters is now talking shit about an S&P included company. Also, yeah, like I know I'm just messing around, but like that's some grounds. It's like, hey, man, we're right at the precipice of getting included into a major index. Why are you starting to compare us to Enron? Like, what do you think that's going to do for the S&P committee? I mean, in addition to many other things, but like their reputation is important, not only because they have a fiduciary responsibility to actually manage people's money, their clients, but like from even just the investment community, like their stock, they have catalysts around the corner. Anyways, I'm like, this is how to trigger me today, apparently.
Yeah.
Should the short report be investigated? Yes.
SEC absolutely should.
Are you meeting DDI relatives? He's actually Venezuelan, not Chilean. So, no. Do you bet on hockey? Who's your team? I do not bet on hockey. I do not have a team.
The way that you said it. I hate hockey. I'm American practically. Come on.
I will bet on football, that's for sure. I'm not betting on hockey. What is that?
Bring them over, guys.
It's so crazy.
Honorary Texan.
Like, honestly, just bring me over and make me an honorary Texan. It's
why were you born in Canada, not America?
I wasn't even born in Canada.
I
was born in Eastern Europe, bro.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe the rumors that Wix is going to buy Fiverr next month?
Yeah, Dylan said the context was that Fiverr is actually moving into their headquarters. So I don't think so. The reason why is they're actually already taking on debt for.
Bro, stop.
Oh, really? Is that actually true? Like, look that up, because that would be astonishing, dude. Okay, where was I? Oh, help me out. I forgot what I was going to say, Tevis.
I don't see him here, man. Hold on.
So if you're not in the know, this is a very noted and early bear
headquarters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Fiverr moved into the headquarters. So they're already taking on debt for their buybacks. They've made their buybacks even more aggressive as well. It's not like bad debt if you look at it and the structure of it. Manuel did a good job of breaking this down. But they've also completed their base 44 acquisition. Like, they don't really have the money for that. They could dilute themselves, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of the aggressive buybacks. So I don't see them doing a both and strategy, at least unless they're saying, hey, we're going to acquire Fiverr a couple of years out after the buybacks. So I don't know why they're moving in. We'll have to see. It is curious, though.
Yeah, I can't find Cavarini because that would be that would be a really big find.
He said, yeah. Okay.
I
was like, yeah, I was like, oh man, that would be astonishing.
Tevis is an honorary American. I want to be a legitimate American. So
Yeah.
let's make it happen, guys. Get me like a nice Midwestern girl or something.
Yeah.
Wix is taking on debt for something. Yeah, they're taking on debt to buy their own shares back.
Yeah. Which I don't love. Like, I actually will probably end up talking about this with Steve on Friday because it's related to CRM. CRM's doing the same thing. Fiserv did it in just extreme quantities before, and they're in a terrible situation as a result.
Sorry, I just had to. All right. When is a good entry on Nebius now? I missed the 70s dip. Dude, weren't you watching my channel for like weekly when I was talking about it when Nebius was at 70? You weren't watching? You want to buy now? Today is a good time to buy because yesterday it was at 130. Also, this is not financial advice. Please do your own homework. We're just here for entertainment.
I did. I'm seeing a couple of comments on BM&R. I know we have a few others start. I wanted to ask you this.
Oh, the orbs thing?
Yeah. So let me. Okay. Bring this up here. So, Bitmine invested more in orbs. It was their first moonshot type of project. Of course, Dan Ives is stepping aside now. What's really interesting, though, is they did that basically so that orbs could invest in OpenAI, which is just weird to me. Like, if you want to invest in OpenAI, invest in OpenAI. Why pay somebody else to do it? But whatever. Don't love that. Don't love orbs. Still like BM&R. This is the weird part right here. And they seem to confirm that as well. But they said, that's not it. Oh, right here. Orbs is the only stock in the world today that gives investors direct exposure to OpenAI equity ahead of their much anticipated IPO. And this was something that was mentioned here in Bitmine's update as well. So Microsoft owns a large chunk in OpenAI. NVIDIA owns some OpenAI. Amazon owns OpenAI. SoftBank, which maybe not everybody can invest in. So, like, what am I missing? Why did they do this? And are they just trying to say it's more exposure? In which case, it's not only like, this is weird, man. It's giving me weird vibes.
Yeah. I don't. Oh no, because Orbs is like the not WorldCoin. What's it called? The
WorldCoin. Yeah, Sam Altman's WorldCoin.
Yeah, so it's like a OpenAI company, right? Or Sam Altman company.
It's a Sam Altman company, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're saying. But then it's like you can just buy Orb stock directly. You don't need to buy it through BM&R.
Well, that's basically what they're trying to say is like, hey, buy us to get at OpenAI. We're the only ones you can do that with. And it's like, but you have that with these other companies as well. Maybe it's a more direct exposure, like, or there's something that I'm missing. But I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know either.
I'm glad Ethereum's going up, though. I'm kind of wondering if we hit a local bottom there.
Yeah, hopefully it keeps going up. I am going to run out of battery soon on this computer. But also, why don't they just buy, SpaceX or Stripe or Anthropic shares? Dude, if BM&R bought Anthropic shares, holy, you would get a nice premium. And like, think about it that way, right? Like, BM&R makes a strategic investment in Anthropic. They're investing $500 million, $1 billion in Anthropic, right? It would totally crush their cash pile. But all of a sudden, it's like, well, you can now invest in Anthropic through BM&R. Everybody's going to buy up BM&R. And next week, they're going to trade at such a premium where they can just dilute another $1 billion immediately.
Yeah.
And look at me saying it so easy. Like I just freaking you guys haven't thought about this?
Love it.
Anyways, I bought too much Nebius at 68. When should I trim? Whenever you want to buy something nice for yourself, man.
Yeah. If like, honestly, if you find yourself overweight in a position and you're up, why not take gains if you wanted to trim?
And thank you for the $2. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so back to Adam's question. I think, you did get a pullback today. You might get further of a pullback. It really depends on how much FOMO will you have if you wake up tomorrow and it's at 130 versus how much relief will you have if you wake up tomorrow and it's back at 90. Whichever one of those feelings is stronger, then that tells you something about whether you should buy today or should wait it out. Adam also says, how the F is SOFI going to 1666 today when it's after hours and it's in mid-17s again?
It's volatile, especially when there's catalysts, and there have been 2.
Roy, if or when you do interview Anthony Noto, what would be your top question to him?
It would be on payments. So payments is seen largely as a solved situation, and you normally don't want to go into that as a new style business. So, what led them to do this? I've not heard anything on that. I'd be very curious. And what they see particularly that they could solve that hasn't been solved yet. Yeah. I think I know the answer on that one, but I'd still like to hear it.
Yeah. I think that's a good question. This might be a stupid question, but what can SOFI sue MD for, Muddy Waters for? Aren't they doing the same things that the other? Yeah, I mean, they could sue the other firms too. It's not just because the other firms are doing it, they can't sue Muddy Waters. They can sue them for some reputational damage. They can sue them for
libel.
Libel. If something that they said is clearly false. And they can do that with other short firms as well. Do we think it's going to happen? I mean, with SOFI, like we talked a little bit about this. Like, I don't necessarily know because they're such a big company. It's not like the juice is not worth the squeeze unless it's to send a clear message, which I think they should to send a clear message. But it definitely is overhang on the stock because somebody is going to see it and it's going to be like, oh, a lawsuit. Like, I don't want to get involved in that, without really understanding the full context. But I think it might dissuade future short reports like this. So we'll see. I think, though, that just the threat of them pursuing legal action will send a very clear message.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts on Trade Desk?
It's kind of shocking how far it's fallen. User trade is a premium. I really like Jeff Green. Advertising right now with a company like the Trade Desk, it's tough because some of what they have, I've talked about this like 9 months ago. Some of what they have is being disrupted just because of the shift towards agentic. And so there's actually less human eyeballs actually navigating. That part of their advertising business is going to break down over time. The market is skeptical whether they can pivot. Revenue growth has slowed. They have lost some clients recently. If I was going to pick an advertising company, it'd probably be AppLovin first, then Zeta. And I don't know if I'd even get into the Trade Desk, even though I do think Jeff Green is pretty interesting. He obviously believes in himself, bought a huge amount of stock back too. So it'll probably work out. I just don't really know enough about them and really how protective they can be of that moat. Since Tevis is probably plugging in a different laptop, let me take a couple of the questions.
I'm just plugging in some my charger. You can answer this one while I'll just go back.
So I think 3.5 weeks ago, Steve, Tevis, and I were actually talking on our show, and it may have been in the after hours. We were looking at those that have gained the most in the S&P 500. What would be our top pick to continue going up? And I think I said Micron. I think Steve said Micron. Yeah, that's a good pick. I think Tevis was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely. We looked at the multiples and we looked at how cheap it was, how much it's growing, and it's a triopoly. There's really just 3 of those types of businesses out there. There's some other niche, but they can't do the same volume. So it's still cheap today at all-time highs. Still cheap. I don't think it's going to get the full premium that it deserves, which should be in excess of 30 forward PE. Instead, we're trading in I don't even know if we're in the teens. Yeah, we're in the low teens right now for Micron for forward earnings, which is probably understated, if anything, right now, given what Jensen and what Lisa Su both said as far as in the space. So, like this week, you could see another 10%, maybe 15% if the macro is favorable. Like, it's deserved. Like, it's undervalued right now. I just wish I had more money, because that's one of those where I'd be like, that's an easy swing. I don't know when it's going to invert or revert rather, but it was inevitable. Let's see. I will answer Rob Farah 969's question. Am I crazy, or was BMNR a steal at $19? I wouldn't quite say it's a steal. Like, it's cheap, and I think it will be proven out it's cheap as well. At that point, like, I'm not even sure if that's the low, or if we go lower. Like, is this mini crypto winter like really just a mini crypto winter, and then we're back into spring and summer again? I would love that. That's awesome. I'm skeptical, so but it was a good buy for sure. Like, it, and then maybe it was a steal. Thank you.
Thank you. Super terrific happy hour. Thank you, Deep Cheeks AI, for the continuous donations. Do you think SoFi will hire Matthew McConaughey? Maybe. Was it PayPal that did that? Who was it that did that?
No, PayPal did Farrell, Will Farrell.
No, I know, but I think they did Matthew McConaughey as well, didn't they? Somebody did Matthew.
Not that I know of. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, guys, who hired Matthew McConaughey? I'm pretty sure that was PayPal. All right, let's see. Next question is, why don't you agree with Stephen Fiorillo that SoFi is just a bank until further notice? What makes it not just a bank?
The issue I take with that is the word just. If you said SoFi is a bank, absolutely, they are a bank. Just means that's it. That's literally it. The problem is, so every bank does have, or not every bank, but most banks have some sort of asset-light revenue. Like, it's just inevitable through subscription fees or what have you. The difference is the volume. If you look at both in terms of the tech platform, which is frankly not as successful as it should have been, it's not been great. I've been bearish on it for a while. I think we're all bearish on it now. But between that and especially the loan platform business, despite what Muddy Water says, they're not being factual. It is asset light, that they do not back in. They do not bear any risk at all should these loans. It's just basically fee-based revenue. That's one of the reasons why they break this out. So there are fees at other banks. The volume of capital light revenue that they have relative to their traditional bank type of revenue is substantial and growing. So it is more than a bank. Now, the other thing that I'll say here too is the other problem that I took with this argument, even a year ago, was the valuation. The way that some people value banks is, let's look at it on a tangible book value basis and a price to tangible book value. That's one way to look at banks, and you should look at that measure, but also consider others as well. And there tend to be those that just look at that and they don't even care about revenue growth, which is kind of important, especially when you're comparing something like SoFi, which is in full growth mode, versus a more traditional mainline bank. So a bank that is growing 30 or 40% should not trade just based on its tangible book value alone, especially when it's asset-light revenue growth.
Yes, I agree. I mean, it's definitely mostly just the bank, but there's aspects that are not just the bank. And every year that passes, it leans in heavier and heavier into those. Even something as simple as like level 1 options that people have been asking for a long time. Like, these are attributes that a company like Robinhood, for example, is doing, and nobody's calling Robinhood a bank. They have a partner bank, but they're a fintech company. Their product is a software product. And so as they diversify away from the pure lending side of the business, and they go more fee-based, and as they go more on the fintech from a consumer perspective with financial services ramping up, and as the tech platform hopefully keeps ramping up, then you're going to see a hybrid valuation in theory relative to just the bank valuation. That's the idea. Historically, and maybe up until this point, it's traded as though it were just the bank because the bank side of the business makes up the majority of the revenue.
Ironically, I think that towards the end of last year, we began to see SoFi trade at a hybrid multiple, which is why it flew up so high. Sadly, that's when everything went south for tech, and it was seen as also a tech company, at least for the hybrid. So wrong time to be classified that way, but nevertheless, here we are.
And it was, in fact, Salesforce with Matthew McConaughey. He did Uber Eats as well, but like he was the guy for Salesforce, I remember. Which is kind of a crazy collab if you think about it. Is what it is, man. They got Mr. Beast now.
Salesforce, yeah, I saw that. They are good at marketing and selling. They are very good at that. They live up to the name. Product, no.
How high can Micron go this week? Did you answer this already?
I did, yeah.
Tevis, ever thought about pulling the trigger on Mercado Libre new? Roy, you have Mercado Libre too.
I just have Nubank. I have a very concentrated portfolio. That's why I have not gotten into Melly. Nubank could exist. I would be invested in Melly.
Yeah, and for me, I haven't. I don't really like to invest in international companies. I've done it in the past, and
I've Canadian, sir.
not
nice try.
Not at heart. Other than the fact that I pay taxes to that government, actually, I can't even say bad things about them. They passed a bill that's like the same as the UK. I'm gonna get a knock on my door, be like, "Hey, what did you say about us?" Jokes on them. I'm in South America. That's why I'm in South America. Just kidding. So again, I don't like to invest in too many international companies because I found in the past that the US equivalent companies will often perform equally, if not sometimes better. I do hold a large position in Amazon. And as for new, well, I own like 7 stocks and SOFI is the biggest one of all. So I don't want to buy more. And I also own Robinhood as well. So I don't want to buy more. I did own new like a little while as like a trade. Did well, but yeah, can't own them all. I mean, there's like easily like a list of like 10 to 15 other names that I would buy if my portfolio was like, if my goal was to diversify further. I love Pedro's response. I'm not going to throw it up on screen though. Do you think SoFi is going to announce an investor day by end of year? Yes.
Probably not.
I think they will.
Oh, cool.
I think they will.
Love to be wrong. Good.
Roy answered this. Bank run on SoFi. Why? Oh, Muddy Water. That my aunt just called me. She's like, "Oh, have you heard of the Muddy Waters?" But like nobody knows who the fuck Muddy Waters is, man. Yeah. Like we're in an echo chamber here. Tevis, would you join the U.S. Marines if your service was... No. Are you kidding me? Like, here's how it goes, man. It goes Canada, U.S., my life, okay? As cool as I think it is in the promo videos and in the movies, I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm fine, dude. So, no. I would not join the Marines. Can you imagine, though? Bro, okay, so... I've been getting my sister forced me to go back on Instagram after like 4 years of being off Instagram, Roy. And I was off Instagram because like I would get sucked into a black hole of reels and I wouldn't come out for like an hour. So I put a timer on it for the app or whatever. And then I eventually just ended up deleting it. And turns out I didn't miss it at all. But then my sister like forced me to go back. And yeah, this is true. Latinas are at the top. And my algo is like literally just dudes. I posted this on X the other day. It's literally just dudes who like go to Bali and like they just live that like just running away from their problems. They're like, I used to work a corporate job too. Now I train Muay Thai in Thailand full time. And I'm like, you could do that? Like, that sounds so cool. So like just this urge to just quit everything and just be like, all right, guys, I'm going to go to Nepal and just go freaking train to be a Buddhist monk or something crazy. It's rattling around in there for sure. But yeah, it's a thought.
I think most of us have you pegged for Air Force, not Marines. But
Oh yeah, it's this.
It's the haircut, it's the mannerisms, it's the big brain that you have on your shoulders, it's everything. So, and you seem more of like a white collar type of guy. Like that's the white collar military. Maybe Space Force a little bit too, but we'll see.
Yeah, I actually looked at flying classes to get like my private pilot license. It's so expensive, man. I was looking at it for this summer because I have an airport nearby in Toronto, and it's like 80 hours that I have to do, and then I just like take a test and like I got to land the thing on my own and not fucking die. And you're basically good to go, and then you just have like a minimum amount of hours. And this was also my algorithm for a while. It was just like people just doing this, and I got so hooked on it. So I thought about it. I think it could be a cool flex, just be like, oh, we'll take us up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might do it. I think this is the year, this year or next year, I got to lean into the side quests more,
Yeah.
I just
absolutely.
feel like I'm so much happier. And you guys are going to notice the moment I go back to Canada, it's like just heavy depression like that. And I just notice I'm just way more content. And I feel as though I need to lean into the side quests a little bit harder. But anyways, neither here nor there. Next question. Have either of you opened up new positions or options on HIMS? Nope.
No money, and there's still better opportunities. I pivoted all my HIMS money into NBIS and added.
How's the Ants portfolio? Any new buys? All right, so like we live in different continents. So for context, I started a portfolio for my aunt. She invested the money. I just put it like she deposited the money. I invested it for her, and she doesn't like. If she lost this money, she'd be fine, is what she told me, and it's not like a massive amount. So I put it into like just stuff that I am invested in. Let me look through my WhatsApp, Jesse, because I'll tell you, I messaged her one day. February 27th was the day where I was just like, hi. The day I talked to her prior to February 27th was like New Year's on WhatsApp. I'm looking at her history. February 27th, I was like, what did I say to her? Put money in the account. Buy NBIS SOFI. Massive discounts. I'm buying a lot. 1 to 2 years, it's going to be double. I don't know what NBIS was trading on February 27th, but it must have been really cheap because that's the day I was telling her to buy.
Well, I'm glad you didn't full port her into SOFI.
No, I think NBIS is like 60 or 70% of her portfolio.
Nice.
Anyways, so no updates beyond that. I'll let you know. Question for Roy. You buying Palantir at 120 or Hood at 60 if there's a 20% pullback across the board?
Leaps on Robinhood. Palantir is still like I'm nibbling at Palantir now. Well, not like recently, but last week. I'm nibbling at Palantir at that range for sure. Hood, Leaps. I have only shares. Let me get some Leaps at that point.
Is Roy a doctor now? Yes, he is. Tevis, you're the most unpatriotic Canadian I've come across online. Why do you hate your own country so much? Canada seems like a beautiful country and people. Have you ever visited? Have you ever visited? Go and visit and tell me what you see, because that's how it seems. And about a decade ago, it was like that. There was a time when I was growing up in Canada, it was like the best place ever. Like, it was just so great. Dude, 2012, we had a stronger dollar than the US did. Like, our dollar was higher than the USD. And then everything just went downhill. And now it's like literally step out of my apartment and I like step over 5 crackheads on the way to the subway. Like I don't take any public transportation because I literally will get stabbed. It's just brutal all around. It's completely stark and gray. It's just everybody cares only about work and how they're going to get ahead, and everybody feels like they're falling behind and they're on this endless hamster wheel, and it's just not like conducive to any type of social life at all. You have entire generations of new immigrants that couldn't give a shit about any of the historical context of the country, nor wanting to integrate in the country. It's just so much like a meat grinder of a country, dude. So, I mean, go visit, and then you come back and report what you find. Exactly. All right, next question. Will NVIDIA go back to 185 next month? It's like 181 right now, dude.
Probably.
Back tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see.
If you had
182.
If you had 100K, Hood or SoFi?
I mean, it depends on the time frame. I think short-term SoFi easily. If I have to say, okay, 5 years, Robinhood, easily.
What was your answer? 5 years Robinhood, and then shorter,
like
SoFi?
short term, like a year, maybe even 2 years SoFi. 5 years plus Robinhood, easy. Both of those, like, easy.
That's crazy to me. I think.
Why is that?
Well, because of the valuations. Like Robinhood is already $100 and something billion company. No, yeah, $70 billion company, and SoFi is at $22 billion company. Like, I think if SoFi were to get to the size that Robinhood is, which I don't think is that crazy, it would already be more than a 3x in SoFi, 3.5x in SoFi.
It
4x.
would be pretty crazy for it to be the size of Robinhood.
Why?
Something would either have to be seriously wrong with Robinhood, or if you're saying like where is right now.
Where it's at today.
Like SoFi at 30 was not crazy. It wasn't cheap. SoFi trading at that level now, no, that's pretty ahead of itself. So
yeah, let me clarify. If SoFi were to get to the valuation that Robinhood is today, let's say in 5 years or something, that's like a 4x in the stock price for SoFi if it gets to $80 billion where Robinhood is right now. It's starting from such a much smaller base. And I think that they have a longer runway to compound, because I don't think Robinhood's going to $1 trillion. You think Robinhood's like what realistically is the return you can get on Robinhood? $1 trillion?
It's going to go to $1 trillion. Mm-hmm.
Off tokenization, you think?
In part that. So there's a lot of things going on. So first, just natural growth. Second, they're going international. And third, they're building a lot of different stuff that's going to cause for there to be institutional volumes. A firm like IBKR has 50% of their revenues actually come from institutions. And Robinhood has less than 1%. So a lot of room for growth just on those things. Plus, there's more and more adoption as far as crypto. There's a great wealth transfer. They benefit from Trump accounts. You look at the cadence of the engineering team. There's going to be products that we have not even considered that are just massive for them. Predictions market is just like one of those examples. Like a year and a half ago, not even on the radar at all. Banking, like this flywheel gets more and more attractive. More and more people want to be a part of it. And as a result, they're actually able to make a lot of money off of that. Lots of flywheel effects as well. And they're just so ridiculously positioned. It's very cyclical. There is, over the short term, more risk. And I don't think it's close in Robinhood versus SoFi, actually, even though I think that both are great companies. Long term, though, man, $1 trillion is a lot, but, I'm thinking like 15 years out. We're looking at, 12 to 15 years out, $1 trillion valuation. That's higher than where Visa is right now, for sure. So, like, this is massive, but $1 trillion is not going to be in 15 years out is not the same as $1 trillion today. So that's the other factor there too. But yeah,
what do you think SoFi tops out at? So let's say Robinhood's going to top out at $1 trillion, not top out, but like long tail $1 trillion. What do you think that is for SoFi?
me see here. Do a quick. Yeah, I think they could get to, if things go well, $500 billion. So basically, I have them in my mind of a Bank of America of the future, just a lot better. They don't have nearly the overhead from the physical locations, everything. Bank of America is at 339. They've been higher before, but yeah, there's a lot of growth there. There is competition. Like, you have to also note, there's a lot of competition in terms of banking. And the thing is with SoFi, they're a very good company, a very good culture, very good leadership, but they don't have the moat that Robinhood has, which is speed. Robinhood can launch credible products faster than any other fintech out there, I think. Maybe Shopify, I don't know. But they're just built differently. SoFi is fast on some things. They're slow on others. And as the competition comes, it's not going to eat SoFi alive, but it is going to gobble up the easy TAM expansion, which is these old legacy banks, which frankly, over time deserve to go extinct if they continue with their current business model.
Yeah, but like, now going back to your answer, this is what I'm saying about the market caps. Like, okay, long tail, you think Robinhood $1 trillion, like let's say 15 years plus, whatever, long tail, where it tops out, and SoFi 500 billion. Well, if that's what you believe, then it's like, well, that's a 22x for SoFi and a 12x for Robinhood. So like, why would you
different? You asked a different question. So you said, where does SoFi top out at? So I was thinking like, this is 25, 30 years out, when SoFi is a very mature business. It's been around long enough to become that Bank of America type of, maybe number 2, number 3 bank. I think they're number 2. But it's going to need at least 25 years. So that's at least 10 years longer than the time horizon I gave for Robinhood, if that makes sense.
Got it. Okay, got it.
But like, the nice thing with SoFi is, at some point, this is not going to happen. Noto is staying hungry and everything like that, but it's well enough run as a business and stable enough as well with what they do. Like, they could almost just go on autopilot, a few years out and just continue to coast. Not to like that size, but do very, very well in the future. They're more than a bank, but they are a bank. I think they do better than that.
With over $100 with dividend is end game, more is a bonus. I agree, man. If you get SoFi $100 at the price, like cost basis that we have, and then they start paying off dividends, like, dude, you just don't sell shares. You just live off of dividends and maybe some covered calls. It's a good life. It's a good life.
So I'll ask a question for the Q&A then. Did you see the comment that NVIDIA said on what they're using their 50% of their free cash flow?
Yes. So 50% of their free cash flow for investor returns, right? Something like that. And it's either buybacks or dividends, basically.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, it would be, I guess they could technically do other things, like, here's some merch. We value it at this. No, they're not. People would be so livid. What do you think it is? They're already doing buybacks. They're already technically doing a dividend.
1 cent. I think they're going to raise it.
Yeah. Like, maybe like a 1% dividend or something like that. So at least you're getting something.
A special dividend.
They could do that too. I think it sends a bigger signal, though, if they do a real one.
Yeah, it's still very exciting. Again, the stock didn't move on that. NVIDIA stock is impervious to positive news, man. It's crazy.
It's a stable coin.
It's exactly a stable coin. It's wild. Wow. Air test system is $37 again. It's crazy. I just noticed that.
Yeah, it got pulled down with everything else. Like, it doesn't trade at 10 necessarily with NVIDIA, but it does well on NVIDIA strong days and poorly on other days. So, yeah, they have earnings actually coming up in about 3 weeks, so that'll be a real catalyst. I think right now they're in the quiet period, so they usually don't have any announcements at all. Even if it's like a week or two that's technically dated, they'll issue those at the same time as their earnings. So they'll just be at the mercy of whatever's happening in the macro for the next 3 weeks.
Okay. Let's see. Anyone looked at Sentinel-1? No.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, but I don't know enough about it. And yeah,
we'll skip it. We got plenty of stuff to go through, and I gotta put out a video, and I gotta eat before places close around here. Why is forward PE of 30 worthy of Micron when it regularly trades at 10 PE of expected earnings due to cyclical nature? If you want 30 forward PE for Micron, then you have to assume Micron will 12x EPS. That's clearly a you question, bro.
growth. And yes, it is cyclical, but this is a hyper cycle. It's not just like over the next year or two. We've talked about it's a triopoly. Micron is able to deliver volumes, and the demand is insane for what's happening. It's only building. They trade too cheaply. Like if I had money again, I'd put it as a swing easily, even here at all-time highs.
If you had money again.
Yeah, if I had money. So I do have covered calls. Like that's the one thing. Like if Nebius had forced me to lose half my position through covered calls, there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Would you close out? Should I close out my cash secured puts on Nebius when I'm like 60 to 65% in profit, given that they're expiring May 15th? And like the easy answer, I think, is yes, because it's you don't want to wait 2 months for the last 40%. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Probably, or at least some. Yeah.
I should have closed it out yesterday. I didn't check the market enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are all price targets still 50 plus by end of year for SoFi? Mine, I think, was 45.
Yeah, mine was higher. And it's not going to get there in this macro. So I've not revised one. It is what it is.
Mine was the lowest of all of us.
Feels good, doesn't it? Mr. Selling cash secured puts at 30 or whatever.
Hey, man. I also sold.
You just like the stock.
I also have cash secured puts at 20 as well.
Yeah.
Let me see how much I've even made from SoFi. Isn't even in my top 1, 2, 3, 4. SoFi is my 5th highest from a premiums perspective. Nebius and HIMS are my number 1 and 2 from premiums.
Yeah.
And then BMNR 3, then Tesla 4, then SoFi 5. Funny enough, Duolingo 6, and then Amazon 7.
Oh. Yeah, I saw a question on Duolingo. I don't know if you tagged it or not.
Yeah, I think I did tag it. But yeah, man, I've right now I've made about almost half, I would say, of my Nebius position in premiums. And of like what I currently hold. And then HIMS,
Yeah,
I had my like more than like I basically like had a cost basis of 0 by the time I sold HIMS because of the premiums. But yeah, you get high beta names. For SoFi, $45, I think it's difficult. Still possible. If we get a heat up into the second half of the year, guys, like you got to understand, man, recency bias is so strong. Like people are like, oh no, this is never going to hit. It's like, dude, it could hit in 2 weeks. You can have some big news like the freaking Liberation Day news or whatever, and it can go up or down or in freaking circles. You could see SoFi $6 a month from now, just as easily as you can see it at $50 a month from now. It really, like, people think I'm crazy, but I've been in the market long enough to know that crazy things happen. I think if we do have a melt up into the second half of the year, then you could definitely see all-time highs. Okay, hold on. I'm going to bookmark a bunch of questions. Did I see MVC's pick, Neuraxis? I did not see it. I guess
That's the micro cap he's been talking about.
I have to. What's the market cap on it? What's the ticker?
I'm not sure. This is the first I'm seeing it. I'm just saying that's what it was. He had said that he was going to release it.
NRXS, $76 million market cap. Roy's richer than the market cap of this company. All right, next question. You guys talk about NBIS already? Yes, we did. Roy has the timestamp. It is
23 minutes.
23 minutes into this video. Was today's Noto buy an emotional response? I don't think so. He's always bought in pairs or in
Always. Or
series.
Or quadruples.
Do you guys like next decade? Yes.
Yes. Not enough to own it, but if VG does just keeps going up and I end up just saying, okay, even this for the shares, which I'm not planning to sell, gets really stupid. I take profits. Next decade might be something I go ahead and pivot to. It depends what it's trading at. It's just pre-revenue. I think there's an opportunity there too. I do love VG though.
Thoughts on Grab? I don't have any. I think Roy might.
I've never been a fan. I've always looked at it and seen it as a good opportunity, not a great opportunity. I've talked with Amit in person on Grab too. When he was pretty new in the stock before we've had this whole extra year of data. They're okay. I think that there are some risks. Less here. It's trading probably below where it should be. But I mean, if you go into Grab, you're not looking at a triple or quadruple over the next 5 years. You're not. You might get a double, maybe a little bit better than that. And I absolutely could be wrong, but the market cap is this thing. There's 1 million shares, and it's always going to trade at a discount compared to what you would expect with an American company. So I'd rather invest in something that I'm a lot more confident in. Grab would be way down the list for me.
Cool. Why are you saying hood to 1 million market cap or trillion market cap? If in the future we are self-custody with crypto and we can send each other money wallet to wallet. I think so many people are
You can do that now.
Yeah, I think so many people are just gonna if your bull case is oh well, we're gonna go more decentralized because of crypto, it's cool.
Not really.
Everybody's gonna do it through Robinhood because they're already doing it through Robinhood. The convenience for normal people outweighs the idea of being fully decentralized. Your wallet, your keys. It's yeah, okay. How many people are still hosting all their money on Robinhood?
Yeah, it's Linux or Ubuntu is out there. It's been out there for a long time. How many weirdos actually use that as their main operating system? Not many people, but there are some weirdos out there.
There definitely are many weirdos out there, that's for sure. Is it true Hood is now giving interest on cash involved in a put? I'm not seeing on my end. That'd be, if you hold collateral, they'll give you interest on it. I think I read that. I think that's true.
I heard that they were either doing that soon or that they are doing that. They weren't previously, so I'm not 100% sure though.
Is NVIDIA or is NBIS a better buy, or is NVIDIA a better buy?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Good answer. I think you're good with both. NBIS is Lambo or food stamps, and NVIDIA is just buy it, set it, and forget it.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, what companies joined the 1 trillion valuation club? We don't have time to go over all of them, but let's do 3 each. So go ahead, Roy. Palantir, Robinhood.
Yeah. Palantir, I'll say 10 years. It's a bit of a stretch for Robinhood, but yeah, 10 years. Robinhood too. Let's see, beyond that. Let me pull up the S&P 500 by market cap.
I think that's good enough. Palantir, Robinhood, NBIS. It's possible.
Actually, it is possible. Yeah, it could be.
It's definitely possible.
It's not a given. I think 500 is, but a trillion.
500 is a given. 500 billion.
Given where inference is going, did you not listen to the clips where Jensen and was? Well, we didn't do the clip for Jensen.
Bro,
but
you're preaching and converted. Or choir.
Oh, Eli Lilly will be a $1 trillion company.
I mean, that's
is
just
it already? It's really close.
Cool. Somebody said Dutch Bros. Bro, if Dutch Bros is at $1 trillion, I don't even know what world I live in anymore. Oh no, I think they were just asking like, do I have thoughts on Dutch Bros?
That makes more sense. $1 trillion market cap. Okay, what has inflation done? Because and are we like living in the era of surplus except for Dutch Bros? It's the one constrainment on resources.
Yeah.
AI won't disrupt that.
It's like, hey, you know what is not $1 trillion? Germany, France, Spain. You know what is? Dutch Bros, America. You know, like
Dutch Bros carries enough political capital that they have a seat on the UN.
yeah. Germany, you have
Not
an
just
army,
a seat,
we have our own army.
an entire little booth where they serve out the Dutch Bros.
Bro, I
Yeah,
think like,
no, like in 10 years, there's honestly probably going to be like 20 or 30 companies that are $1 trillion market cap. Then that might be low. I mean, there's already like some like OpenAI. It's going to be like the next $1 trillion company. Anthropic, it may be like depending on when it actually IPOs.
like
SpaceX, of course,
$1 trillion company. Yeah. All right. America. All right. What's the best cash secured put you've seen in the market now, Roy? I have some tax money.
I mean, it just depends. Like, I would only write it on companies you actually want to hold at whatever price you're doing.
Yeah, like,
that way, the money is either gravy or you get a great stock at a great price. So, like for me and what I'm looking at and what I want to add, for me personally, that would be NBIS. Ridiculous premiums. It's not a crazy valuation. It's not dirt cheap either, but I think it's attractive here. Writing 110s, like, yeah. But that's for me.
do you see Lemonade today?
No.
16% move. It's getting there.
Did you get back in?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you said you were getting, but sometimes things happen. Like
no,
Argentina.
I'm back in. I'm back in on Lemonade, and I'm loving it. I actually put it into one of the accounts that it was like tax haven accounts that I got a reset in terms of like the allowance that I could put in. And it's like literally an empty account, and all it holds is Lemonade. And my year to date is like 25% or something. Yeah, they got an upgrade. Crazy move off an upgrade. It's like, oh, we're bullish on the Tesla news. It's like, where the fuck have you guys been for the last couple months? Like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, they got an upgrade and they're up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. If I kept wheeling 50 Delta Tesla from Thanksgiving, they oddly have held up. Yeah, Tesla's been relatively flat, which is crazy. But I would imagine the premiums are still very juicy on that one.
Probably.
When are you predicting we exit Iran, and when will oil be back under 70? Bro, your guess is good than mine, but I think we're slowly coming to terms that this is not going to be a few weeks. And especially from Trump's commentary around other countries refusing to help, that it's just like, oh, actually, hold on. I sent you this. I don't know if you saw it or not. And maybe we don't throw it up, but maybe we do. Did you see this?
You'll have to describe this.
The guy who quit over the war. Hold on.
No, I didn't.
All right. We're covering it.
All right.
So the director of National Counterterrorism Center just resigned over the Iran war. Joe Kent posted his resignation. This guy posted here.
Okay.
Resignation letter to Trump on X said Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Said the U.S. started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Called it the same tactic they used to draw us into Iraq. This is a combat veteran, 11 deployments, blah, blah, blah. Trump appointee running the most sensitive national security roles in government. He told Trump, you can reverse course and chart a new path, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. First major resignation from inside the administration over this war. Kind of interesting. There's also, I think, some chatter around some insubordination / boycotts, if you want to call it that, on some of the U.S. carriers. I don't know, but I think it would be safe to say that obviously not everybody is enthused about the prospect of having this drag on even further.
Yeah. I would guess probably the soonest it wraps up is 3 to 4 weeks. It's probably going to be a quarter or two, and I hope it's not, because that causes a lot of problems for a lot of poor countries and poor people.
But like, I don't even know what's left anymore, man. It's like the entire top brass all the way down to the bottom brass is like all wiped out. Like, who is even like, I don't even know that you need boots on the ground. Like, who is even, I don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm just a dude on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, like, they don't want to leave. Nobody wants an Iran that is just unstable and chaotic, and there's no government there. So at some point, the regional powers there, maybe to a lesser extent China, but I'm skeptical on that. But especially the Middle Eastern countries, like, hey, we need to figure out some way to get out of the situation. Let's sit down and like at some point, the United States, even Trump, will realize, like, hey, you're not going to eliminate every single person, and you may not be able to achieve the objectives that you're wanting to do without boots on the ground, and nobody will support that. I mean, like, very few. We should oppose that, absolutely. But it'll take a little bit of time. So I'm hopeful for the shorter time span. I hope I'm even wrong on that, even though I know that VGA will go down quite a bit. And I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Like, I think it's great for the world that the Strait of Hormuz is flowing, that we have hopefully a lasting peace, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to create a power vacuum, and so the transfer of power, I think, is also very sensitive topic, right? You don't want another like Afghanistan type of like situation where it's just so hard to get out, and then you do it unsuccessfully. But time will tell. Hopefully, it's weeks, but brace yourself for if it's a little bit longer. Are you buying NVIDIA at these prices? I would be definitely a buyer.
I am.
You are. Great. At what price are you selling BMNR covered calls? Around 35 to 40 bucks.
Yeah, it's same. Not very good premiums either.
Have you started going to the gym looking a little? No, I have not started going to the gym at all. I am going to start eventually when I get back, but not yet. I really do need to start again, man. I'm like on an extended hiatus. Next upcoming catalyst on air.
Yeah, earnings is it. You will get TSMC that reports a little bit earlier, so that could be other earnings calls as well. There's a couple of smaller ones. I don't believe they have any conferences. At least there's none, and they're close enough to earnings that they can't. They probably don't want to issue any sort of new agreements that they have with people. Those will come out at the exact same time as earnings, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, that's 3 weeks away.
I don't know what this is. Have you guys start like whenever somebody puts a question mark, StreamYard gives it to me as a question, and when I'm rushing, I'll like bookmark all the ones that have a question. So keep that in mind. Have you guys looked at UiPath? It's trading at its lowest valuation since going public, buying back its own shares. They're in the business of selling AI agents. That seems to be a hot topic. No, I haven't looked at it.
When I looked at them last, it was 2023, and people were saying Palantir was overvalued and to find like the next AI name. So C3 AI and UiPath. There was one other that was really common. I'm not thinking of it right now. Were all mentioned. Well, we know how that story ended. Now, I did look at UiPath. They mostly were focusing on process mining at that point. And it was interesting. Then I saw what Palantir was doing, which was also entering that space. And I'm like, I'll just stick with Palantir. I've not revisited them. I just don't have the capital right now. I kind of question how deep that moat is. It has never seemed, or at least back in 2023, it seemed like a very small moat. They are growing. They're not a bad company. I just don't know if they're a great company. They do seem like that they're maybe trading cheaply, especially relative to where they're at in the business. But yeah.
Okay, cool. I was on Twitter. Did you see this Nebius is going to take care of you clip, Roy?
No. Oh.
Nobody is a better cheerleader for you guys. I'm sending business to you guys all the time. NBIS will take care of you. Everybody who doesn't have NBIS will take care of you.
You see those stages.
Yeah, NBIS will take care of you.
That's our new tagline.
NBIS will take care of you.
That's Mark Boroditsky, CRO for Nebius. I love how he still mispronounces it. Like, dude, you're billions deep in partnerships with these guys. Like, please pronounce the name correctly. But Jensen, he's his own man.
No, it's now pronounced Nebius. It just
Yeah,
says it's that way. That's the way it is. So
yeah. Have I looked at Hive? No, I've not looked at Hive. Sorry for being curt. I want to get off this video so that I can go eat and also post my Nebius video. Because it's like almost done editing. I just didn't have time. Our Nebius $175 analyst price targets based on revenue growth or earnings growth. When will Nebius be profitable, if ever? So they're based on revenue growth specifically. Well, most of them are based on revenue growth specifically. Everybody knows that Nebius is, like, all the analysts know that it's not profitable. Probably 2027 is when we can look at, or 2028, sure. But they're heavily reinvesting into the business build out phase, and as a result, they're looking at revenue. I've been following you all for a few months, but I've been curious, how did you guys, Tanner, Steve, Matt, Money, Amit, all get to know each other? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know any of these guys. I started to know them through SOFI Weekly. So SOFI Weekly started in October, maybe 2022, I want to say. No, 2023. And it was me. I got a message from this dude called Riley on X. And Riley was starting a SOFI thing. I had made a couple of videos on SOFI before. I had 5,000 subs at this point. Tanner had about 8,000 subs at this point. And Riley messages me on X and he says, like, hey man, love your content. I'm starting this like weekly podcast on SOFI with a couple of other creators. And let me know if you'd like to join. Back then, I think Amit had like 15,000 or 16,000 subs, something like that, because he was double what Tanner was at that time. Like, I remember this vividly. And I was just like, oh, dude, like this guy with like 15, 16,000 subs, like that's going to be great for, you know, brand. And I was like, whatever, let's do it. Like, I don't do live streams. I don't really know any content creators. And we started it. And I was like, there's this other dude. And he also does SOFI content. And I don't know if he'd be interested. And that was Tanner. And I was like, this is my competition right here. Lo and behold, you know, we just got to talking. And one thing led to another, and then people just started like to join the group, and like it started to form. Like I met Matt Money shortly after. I met this gentleman shortly after, and I'm sure he'll tell his side of the story. Of course, Chris Patel, Sam Solid, all of these guys, and the community just formed from there. Because what was happening in the background is, while like around that same time when Riley came to myself and Tanner and Amit to start SOFI Weekly, Amit and I think it was Matt and a couple other people were doing Palantir Weekly, and both those shows were happening around the same, like they started around the same time. And so we already had a community of like creators that kind of knew each other by name. They knew of each other. And from there, it's just a 2 millimeter shift to be like, oh, well, you know, if Amit and Matt are going on and Matt knows who Tev is and Tev knows who Matt is, like, oh, let's just collaborate on something. Long story short, you know, me and Matt go on and Chris go on vacations now, like once every 3-4 months randomly. Tanner lives 45 minutes away from me. I do 2 shows a week with Dr. Roy here. And met almost all the guys except for Roy. Roy's the only one I haven't met. I've met almost all the guys in the meetups. Very, very grateful for the community. Did not think it was going to grow to the level that it did. But I mean, guys, like anything you want to do, you give it years and it will compound. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, so a little different. I wasn't doing any content at all at the time, but I was doing individual investing, and I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of alpha on, mostly I was on YouTube at the time, a little bit on Reddit, and I never really used it that much, and then eventually got on X. But I started actually following Amit because there were a few big Palantir creators, some which I liked and some which I was like kind of ambivalent towards. And so I was looking for more, and then I saw this guy that had 1,000 subscribers. So I started following him when he was actually really new. I'm like, dude, this guy's great. Little did I know that we'd become friends and I'd actually get to know him. So we interacted a couple of times. So Amit, when I had a smaller account, he would just send people the StreamYard link and just like, hey, hop on. Let's, you can ask a question, we could talk. And I took him up on that. On a couple of different names and hit it off. I'm like, I like this guy. And so we had a couple of conversations outside of that. But at a certain point, like Amit saw, because I'd hopped on some of these streams here and there, didn't have my own channel, wasn't really even posting that much on X other than just a reply guy. He's like, dude, you're already doing the due diligence. Why don't you just put it down like on X? I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. So ended up, that's when I started investing in PayPal, which of course didn't work out too well, but it worked out really well for me as a content creator. Some of that stuff went fairly viral and helped my channel grow really rapidly. At the same time, Amit was like, hey, this is how you train the algorithm. These are things that you can do to help your channel. And I was like, this is awesome. Like this guy that, is just phenomenal is taking time to do that for me. Anyway, ended up hopping also on SoFi Weekly as a guest. May 2023, I think I invested in SoFi. Been tracking it for like over a year. And I've been watching SoFi Weekly actually as a reply guy for a bit. And ended up getting to know, of course, Tevis and Tanner and Steve through that. Matt was the one that was a little bit different. So I don't know that Matt and I ever had interacted before other than just on X, like just typing back and forth. But seemed like a really decent guy, also very much into Palantir. And I'd occasionally see him on Palantir Weekly, not interacting with them, but just from the comments. And I moved to Texas, not quite 4 years ago, but fairly close. And at the time, Matt's in Texas as well. He's in Houston area. And we said, hey, let's get together. So met him and I was like, yeah, he's a cool dude. So so cool. Like I think Matt would be okay with me sharing this. Like, we had a hurricane that came through a year and a half ago, Hurricane Beryl, and we lost power for like almost 5 days. All of our food was, trashed, and it was just like, it was tough. So it got to the point where Matt was like, hey, bring your whole family over. You can stay with me. I have air conditioning. I'll throw some meat on the grill for you guys. It's like, dude, and we didn't even know each other very well at that point. Like he's a great dude. All these guys are. All the different skills. I've met all except for this guy in real life. Hopefully that changes this year, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Once I get invited to an NVIDIA event or a Robinhood event or something, man, fiscal AI event. But yeah, I mean, Matt's a great guy. Like we've got to talking about like life stuff, and he has a crazy story, and yeah, just very genuine, kind-hearted guy. Yeah, I remember first of all, it's crazy that like you discovered Amit's content when he was like at 1,000 followers. Like in retrospect, that seems wild right now, but
yes,
it's so like it feels like all of this happened so fast, because I still remember like when all these guys had like super small channels, like a couple thousand followers. Like I might have had 2,000, 3,000. I like knew of people, like I knew of this guy, but we didn't actually start collabing on SoFi Weekly until, like I said, I had 5,000 and he had 8,000, and I was just like, dude, this account bigger than me, talking about the same stuff, and like he has well-researched stuff, and I was just like, oh man. And I remember I was like, I said to Riley, I'm like, oh, are you sure? Like, he's going to want to do it with us? He's like, yeah, we're sure. And we got to talking on X, and I was just like, oh, he's just a dude. Like, he's just a normal. He didn't even have the mustache back then. So he wasn't as intimidating as he might now be. And it was just like, it was cool. It was cool to see. Let's see here. There's a couple of other. Yeah. Honestly, like, there's still some videos from 2021 that I have, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I made that. That's so bad. But like, you need those.
Yeah.
And we still have SoFi weekly videos, like live streams that are up from like 2022, and you can see how all of us look. It's quite crazy. It's quite crazy. All right, let's see here. What do we got? Like Nebius diluted in a position of weakness or position, like, I think it's a position of strength, because the stock price is the highest that it's been since the all-time highs back in October. And quite frankly, I mean, it's still lower than all-time highs back in October. And since that time, they now have 27 billion with Meta. They have an investment from NVIDIA. They have all these new partnerships that they've secured. They have guidance for doubling their data centers in 2026. And 5 gigawatts by 2030, like, that's very significant. And all of it, this company is trading under where they were back in October. So, I think it's a position of strength. I think they're going to go higher. I think this capital raise, like, people like to act like they're shocked, but don't be shocked. If you were listening to the Q4 earnings call, you wouldn't be shocked at all. They literally told you that this is going to happen. They went in depth on how they're going to raise money for the CapEx. So. June says, I remember when I met Tevis in Vegas, this was 2023. October 2023. I didn't know who he was. Yeah, June. It was crazy because, like, there was a bunch of people. This was Amit's first meetup, and there was a bunch of people there, like maybe 20 people or so, 15 at like the first meetup, and June was one of those people. And like, people will just walk up to you. They're like, hey, Tevis, how's it going? I'm like, hi, I've never met you before in my life. What's your name? And it was really cool. We like smoked a joint in the backyard, and I think Amit's Airbnb. It was fantastic. I shouldn't have said that on the stream, but here we are. Sorry if I missed it. Where would y'all be happy selling some Nebius shares?
I won't be too bad. Like, if I do miss out on these covered calls, like if they roll out, I'll probably roll them one more time. That would be a 50% gain in like 3 weeks. So I can't be upset at that. But no, I'd like to hold them long term. Like, I don't have a price target where I'm thrilled to sell necessarily, but I'm fine with it here.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy selling some Nebius shares when my covered calls get called away. And yeah, I think if we do get close to my price target, it's $200 by end of year. I could be selling some shares at that point, but we'll see. I do believe, like, I want to hold a position for the long term. It's just a matter of like, okay, what does that look like? Because right now Nebius is like 27% of my portfolio. And if we do go to $200 a share, this is going to be much, like, I think we need to go back to all-time highs, like 140. If we go there, Nebius is going to be my number one position above SoFi, which is crazy. But like, one of them is down and one of them is up. Like, what do you expect? So
yeah,
some natural trimming will happen as we continue to go up, but I do want to hold a position for the long term. Do you think Hood is going to jump on March Madness numbers as well as World Cup? Feels like those are big catalysts. Been adding shares since the 70s.
Predictions markets have held up a little bit better than expected, even with football winding off. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one area where they could surprise, although they are starting to break those numbers out on a monthly basis. So, but yeah, no, I think, like, if you're looking at this long term, it's really good value here. If it wasn't, it's again now my number one position. If it wasn't that, large amount in my portfolio, I'd take on more here.
Yeah. Francie says Paper Panda event. I don't know, man. I think we should do a Toronto event. I know Tanner's in the chat. I know Amit wants to potentially do another Toronto event. I haven't talked to him about it, but yeah, I think Tanner needs to basically step up right now, except that he's the biggest Canada creator, and just organize a Toronto event. And I'll happily be there and help organize. But Franzi, other than that, I don't know what to say. Blame Tanner. Paper Panda has made $40 this month on the back of donations, which is great, but also not profitable at all from a time perspective, nor from an actual revenue perspective. It's not sustainable. So I'm going to try to work on it more, but I need, like, it's harder than it looks to actually make sure the data is accurate and consistent and loads for everybody, and you're not messing stuff up, so on and so forth. So stay tuned. Once Marshall comes on, we will set it up. Is Marshall Tanner's Jess? Ew. At least Amit hired like an attractive, like, leave it to Tanner to hire a dude named Marshall.
I met Jess too. She's really nice, very very smart.
I love Jess.
Well spoken.
She's great.
And she's Canadian, so there are some good people. There are some really good people that are Canadian that need to come here.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Marshall. She's this Tanner, like, oh God, like, I love him, but at the same time, I just want to freaking shake him sometimes. How would you hire a dude named Marshall to be? You can hire anybody, man. It's your assistant. When I hire an assistant, she won't be able to do shit. She'll just be nothing. Never mind.
He's got a girlfriend, you know, that he's very serious about. So that might be a factor there. So his choices are hire a dude or hire a very much older woman that is not attractive. Maybe. But I think Marshall is really just there to make sure that Tanner has a private bathroom. Whatever event it is, boom.
I don't. Yeah. Backpedal that. Be careful. Yeah, I don't know who's watching this stream. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Future wife, probably.
Well, I'm gonna get in trouble. Just kidding. I'm not gonna get in trouble. I don't give a shit. Tavis, you have an Orbs edition? No, then go eat. Yes, I'm gonna get some shawarma because it's around the corner, and you guys can expect a NBIS video coming out in the next 30 minutes to an hour, but 30 minutes most likely, because I'll do it before I go eat. And a SOFI video, perhaps tomorrow, if I record one tonight. But I could also just say, screw it, and go out instead. So TBD on what happens. Thank you so much for watching and donating your time and your $2 increments if you're Deep Cheeks AI. Thank you for those.
And thanks again, Osiris.
And Osiris. Love you all. Check out paperpanda.io. We will see you on Friday for the Ron and Travis show, Fiesta Friday. Your favorite show aside from Bootleg. I think that's it. That's it. Thanks for becoming a new member to Roy's channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Food now. Thank you. Goodbye. Adios.
Have a good night.